Okay. All right. I think I'm streaming. I'm streaming. I'm gonna like wait a little bit so some of you guys can come in here. Yeah. I told you guys in the review, in my final review of the last episode, that I would either be making a couple more videos about Game of Thrones or I was just gonna do a stream. And I definitely don't want to just keep making videos just like hating on Game of Thrones. It's like not what I want this whole thing to be about. So I decided, gonna do a stream. Gonna do a stream of my final reflections on season 8. And today I am joined by Mike. Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people for the people that don't know you.
Well, thank you, kind sir. My name is Mike S. Miller. I am a comic book artist of the past 27 years working with DC and Marvel, but for this crowd, probably best known for doing the covers for the Game of Thrones comics, the Clash of Kings so far, and doing all the Dunk and Egg graphic novels, Hedge Knight, Sworn Sword, and Mystery Knight so far. Best known in the comic world for Injustice. I have my own YouTube channel, Blacklist Universe. Please follow me. And I've moved last year into my own crowdfunding comics, and so Quinn has thankfully added my link to the description. Go check it out at lonestarcomic.com. The second one is up. The first one did fantastic, over 100,000, and we are about to cross 100,000 on the second one now. So Quinn, thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. They were saying your mic was a little bit loud, and I turned it down quite a bit. So just speak again.
I could just move it away from my face.
Tell me how the sound is sounding now. I'm gonna let them catch up. So just say something again. It was on my end. I had it like maxed out.
Okay, Valar Morghulis.
Is it still too loud, guys? Tell me if it's too loud. It's gonna take them a little bit because there are a few seconds behind
loud,
me.
Still loud. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I turned it down significantly.
All right, you don't have the little like red bars that tell you how hard.
Yeah, it is. So I'm just waiting for them to catch up and tell. They're saying it's good now.
Better.
It's good.
All right, cool.
See, it took them for. I don't know how long it's like lagging back. That's a good like 30-second lag, I think.
Yeah. All right, dude. You're 2 minutes in. We're up to 852 watching.
Whoa. So hey guys. So like I was saying in the beginning, we're here to trash Game of Thrones. I don't care whose feelings I hurt. It's all like all bets off now. Like you tried it. Like they really tried it with this last season. The more I think about it, the madder I get. But before we get right into that, I just want to tell you what I got coming up for this week. I've got some more long form of Song of Ice and Fire content coming up this week. I got one visual podcast coming up, and then we've got I've got some Dune stuff coming up, definitely, and then I've got some surprises. And then later on in this stream, we're going to talk about some other project that me and Mike have been talking about, maybe working on together, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. But anyways, okay, so let's talk about this season, and let me just pull something up. I'm going to pull up like some notes just so I can be kind of just, I have something to go off. Season 8.
Oh, this is your favorite scene. Right here.
Oh, the ice and fire. Which one?
Where they're sneaking out from around the little island with the...
God dang it. You're on in those freaking ships. And those ships are hideous, too. I've never, like who designed those fucking ships? Like, usually I'm like, okay, the design is
I don't know, but I want to know who designed their cloaking mechanisms, because that was remarkable.
Like, they've got, like, some Romulan level cloaking.
Yeah, right?
Isn't that like outlawed in the Federation or something? It's like it's too good. It's too good. All right. So this crappy season opens up with Winterfell. And Winterfell was like just like a bunch of characters like meeting up. What happens in this fucking episode? Like I feel like basically nothing happens. It's just like a bunch of people meet up. What stood out to this episode for me, so the Golden Company.
You know what? I'm going to open up HBO Go so I can actually skim through the seasons while we do this.
That might be good. And I might put that on the screen like later on. But like, so in the first episode, right? This is one of the things that like always bothered me so much.
This might answer your question.
Shut up, Alexa. I wasn't talking to you. Shut up. You mute. You don't get to talk about Game of Thrones, Alexa. So okay, this is what bothered me about the first episode because when the Golden Company comes, right? Qyburn walks up to Cersei and he goes, "Your Grace, the dead have broken through the wall."
Mm-hmm.
And then it plays that dramatic music and she smiles and she goes, "Good." And I remember
Yes.
when that happened, I tweeted, "Oh my god, Cersei is so evil. I love her so much. I can't wait to see what she does. She's going to have the best plan ever. She's going to really mess some people up." And then and then she just cries. Like that's all she does. Like Daenerys comes to the city, starts burning everything, and she's just like a total like delusional child crybaby. The Red Keep has never fallen, and I love how everyone on the internet was like, "Oh, did you forget about literally Robert's rebellion when the Red Keep fell?" So if you think that
Yeah.
Robert's
In this entire season, other than her scene with Euron, I can't remember her having actually like okay, that scene, and then the scene at where she pushes Missandei off the, or where
where
she
she
has him
has
her
it,
ex.
yeah,
That's like the only two scenes I can remember for her in this entire season.
she didn't do anything. Like they were, all the memes are saying like Lena Headey got paid just to stare out of a window, and then it was like it's like all the villains in this sucked. It's like every single villain sucked.
She was like Danny in A Feast for Crows.
Just like just hanging out in a castle, just like oh,
Yeah.
I'm looking out, just hanging around. It's crazy. We don't even need to go in order. We're just gonna like kind of ramble because I don't care about going in order. But like yeah, but like I was saying, like every single villain sucked. It was like okay, the Night King isn't the main
Oh
villain.
my gosh, I'm going all the way back to the beginning. I'm watching freaking the when Bran meets Danny and says, "We don't have time for this."
Dude, exactly. See, Bran. See, that's we can talk about Bran in a minute, but like Bran has been playing everybody from the beginning,
Yep.
and
I'm
and,
telling
and, and it's like I wish the show writers had some talent and they knew how to actually do it well because he
you.
just
Mhm.
comes off as like, oh, I'm just the good guy king, and it's just really freaking just annoying. But yeah, it's like they set it up. The Night King isn't the villain. Cersei is the villain. So it's like okay, he was kind of a bad villain, but that's because we've always focused on the human villains and how great they are. But then she doesn't do anything, and like Daenerys burns the entire city down with like one dragon, and Cersei just cries. Like the entire thing, I'm thinking, look, Cersei's got wildfire. She's gonna pull out some stuff. Like maybe wildfire can hurt a dragon, right? Maybe. I mean, we've not seen
Mm.
a dragon come into contact with wildfire because it was something that the Targaryens invented after
It
they lost
absolutely
their
would
dragon.
because it just burns and it burns and it burns.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's like,
maybe it would hurt the dragon. I don't know.
oh
I,
yeah, because oh yeah, does fire?
because it's
Oh,
like
that's a good
does
point.
fire kill
Never mind,
dragons?
never mind.
But we know like in Valyria, right? When the
Mm.
volcanoes exploded, that killed the dragon. So I was thinking like it's the show, so it's a little bit like fan fictiony anyway. So I'm like, you could just have like Cersei burn the dragon with wildfire or something. And I feel like the mistake was that they killed one of the dragons in the last episode. I feel like Rhaegal should have died in the fifth episode rather than the fucking fourth episode, right? He should have died in the battle. So it's like to give Cersei something to do then, you know what I mean? Because it's like Danny just comes in
Well,
and just
not only that, but to break Danny more
exactly
at
would have
that
made more
point.
sense.
You know, it was it's. I kind of go back and forth on is it the story or is it just the storytelling?
It's the
Like, because the
storytelling.
storytelling is so bad.
It's it's the way they're getting to the places. It's like they're just jumping.
Yeah.
It's like okay, it's like this entire time, like people that have been defending the show have been saying shit like, "Oh, George R. R. Martin told them the ending. It's the middle that's gonna be different." But that's like the thing about a freaking story. Like the ending doesn't really matter as much as the journey. I'm sorry. I know. Like you want to know the ending, but like what matters is the journey and the
Right.
way you get there. And even if it ends like exactly the same, which it's not, it can't possibly. But like even if it did, like like this is trash. Like the way we got to this point is just like utter garbage, and it's just like sickening.
It is bad fan fiction.
It is bad fiction, fan fiction, and George R. R. Martin too. He's so subtle with his shade, right? That it's like funny
Mhm.
because I feel like he knows he can't say anything like outwardly negative about Game of Thrones, so
I
he'll
think that's
just
probably in his contract. Yeah.
yeah, he'll just like stick to like either like not mentioning it, and like being like, "Oh, I love HBO's Gentleman Jack," or he'll do like he did in the last post where he had to mention it because people were like battering, like, "Is it gonna be the same?" So I felt like he had to come out and say, like, "Actually, my shit's actually gonna be different than this." He was like, "No, that's not my shit." It's like yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. So he's like, "So."
Yeah, and he's much more adult and controlled about it than
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of the actors who just like came right
Oh,
out. You know, like,
oh,
oh yeah, it's trash.
dude, let's talk about the freaking actors' responses to this. And guys, I'll get some of your super chats. I know I missed some. I know there's a place where I can like look at all of them somewhere, but I'll get them in a minute. But yeah, let's talk about these actors. Let's talk about these actors.
Yeah, and guys, like and share, like and share. There's about a tenth of you have liked so far.
Yeah, please, like hit the like button, guys. It really helps like get the word out that I'm streaming, and it does a lot. I don't know what it does, but just do it anyway.
It
Like
helps some
it.
sort of algorithm or something.
Yeah, it does something with the YouTube magic algorithm. Okay, so like the first time I heard about the actors being disappointed, because I don't like follow the actors. I'm not like all up in their Kool-Aid like celebrity, like look seeing what they're doing and stuff. So someone had commented that Jon Snow had said that the last season was disappointing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"There's no way he said that." And by goddamn, I look it up, and literally the first word out of his mouth is disappointing. Like, how do you feel about the last season? Disappointing. And it was like no hesitation that it's disappointing. And then Amelia Clark.
No, wait, don't jump to Amelia Clark yet, because
Okay.
I think after Jon Snow, Kit Harington, after he said that, I think the contract clicked into his head. You're not supposed to say anything negative, and then he's like, what was the other word he
He
used?
said epic. He was like, "Oh,
Epic,
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 whatever.
one of those
Pick
two.
pick one of those words." It's like they all know. It's like, and it's like it's just on the surface, like they all know that it's like
Yeah,
bad because you think these
yeah,
are
that's
actors.
why I think this is a maturity thing. Because the same thing with Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage also knew he's not supposed to say anything bad, so he just did that bit where like he said, Dan and Dave are the best writers ever.
Yeah, exactly. And you know the thing, actors, right? Actors want to be in like interesting roles.
Hmm.
Like actors, these are artists. They want to express themselves in like meaningful roles that actually mean stuff. So I've seen like so many actors like for like Euron. Everyone knows like I've never liked Euron in the show. But
Hmm.
like when that actor came out and said how disappointed he was with his character, even I was like, oh wow. Even he was because he was like saying, oh, I read in the book that Euron was like this magical pirate guy, and I got really excited to do that. And he was like, if they told me to wear a wooden leg, I would totally do it. And then he's like, I got there and they were like, we're not gonna do all that lame weird eye patch stuff. And then he had to pretend like he liked what they were saying more than like what was actually in the book. And I was like, oh my, even him, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then I think,
They dressed him up like a Backstreet Boy and threw him out there.
God, he sucks. But like I was saying, Amelia Clark, that's the most damning one. Like all the stuff that she said and all the videos of her
That
are
girl
just,
cannot lie.
oh, she cannot tell a lie. My God. Best season ever. And I'd seen people commenting best season ever just like randomly, and I was like, what are they talking about? Like, where does that come
Yeah.
from? Because I didn't see the video at first. Like anyone
No,
that's defending.
Shakira's hips can't lie. Emilia's eyebrows can't lie.
Oh my God. Those eyebrows. Like it was like as soon as the chick is like, how do you feel about your final scene? She's just like, oh, oh. And I love Masande or Natalie Dormer sitting right there, just like it's like she goes right to the last. She's like, yeah, best season ever, but she's like, like you don't look serious at all. Oh man, and then I feel bad for all the other people that got cut sooner too, like the guy that played Sir Barristan. He was
Yeah,
like,
he seems a little bitter.
he's very bitter because he was like he was playing. He had read the books, so he's like, oh, this is where Sir Barristan really takes off. And it's like, no, they
Hmm.
kill him. Like we don't want this old man. This was the whole. It's like I saw someone tweet this. It was like the show did to Sir Barristan what Cersei and Joffrey did to Sir Barristan. They were just like, screw you, old man, get out of here, get out of here. I'm just like, come on, come on. And
Oh,
then
that must be a shot from episode 3 because I can't see anything.
probably I think it's the dragon. It's like one of the dragons in the sky. That's what that is. Uh, and then who else? Jamie. Now the Jamie one is really interesting too because the Nikolai one, who's going to be at Con of Thrones this year, which I'm going in like a
Yeah.
month or two.
Where is
It's in Tennessee this year.
it? Ew.
Yeah.
Tennessee cons suck.
I hope it doesn't. I don't know. The last one was really fun though. But what Jamie said was really interesting. He said in a video that he's been arguing with these fucking guys, D&D, since season 4 about his character. Nikolai has hated the direction that Jamie has gone since season 4.
Yeah.
And it's like he said, he's like in the video, he's like, they just told me like, shut up, you're just the actor, just say the lines basically. And it's just like, damn, that's so despicable. Like these actors are begging to be fed, begging for some good stuff to act out, and he's just like, they're having them dick around and go to Dorne and do this ridiculous wannabe Xena warrior princess.
Oh
Type
my
stuff.
gosh, I totally forgot about that.
It's so bad because I'm sure he like read the book and he's like, okay, Jamie's like finally, his arc is finally moving on. He kind of like hates Cersei and he's like realizing how like toxic she is as a person. But then the show's just like go right back to that, go right back to that. And then I even said in my video that I'm glad they just died there because it's like I didn't want it to get like worse than that. I was like, if you're gonna have him come back to King's Landing, just kill him, just do it, end it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try and like scoot over to some super chats because I saw like a bunch of them
Yeah,
pass
hit it.
by. So let's see what you guys have been saying to me.
Oh, somebody in the chat is called the Laughing Storm Born Again.
Really?
Lionel Baratheon in the chat.
A great name. Okay. Mary Evans, thank you for your super chat. It just says, hey man, love your vids, keep it up. VT31008 says, I went back to read the books because this is garbage. I think a lot of people are doing that right now. Thank you for your super chat. And Hoki Buskisi, I can't pronounce your name, says, D&D are lazy, amateur, progressivist, fan service hacks. I can't say I really disagree with that. You know, one time I got in trouble on Twitter for calling D&D hacks, like about a year and a half ago. Like some people ganged up on me and they were like, don't call them hacks. But like I was saying before, I don't feel bad about calling them hacks anymore because they've been exposed.
Yeah. I tend to wonder how, because it seemed like it did just get progressively worse, and I don't know if that's stepping on butterflies or if it's the progressively thinner notes that George gave them, because it seems like he just kept stepping further and further away from production.
I think it
To the
was...
point where I think he's probably embarrassed that his name is on this season.
I think so too. And you know, I think it was a lot of them rushing it. And you know what I honestly think? I think that George didn't just leave the show to work on Winds of Winter. I think they were probably having like internal arguments for a while. Because I remember some stuff that George R. R. Martin would just say like every now and again. Like I remember like his whenever he made some commentary on Talisa. You remember like Robb Stark's wife? He said something snarky. Like even then it was like he was like, when I read this character and I saw that they were gonna name her Jane Poole, he was like, I just went in and told them, like, if you're gonna change her entire backstory, you're gonna change her history and her family, change her name. He was like, change her name to Talisa. So he went in and made them change her name because he was like, this isn't even my character. He was like, why are you even...
Well, yeah, and not just that. I mean, the video I saw of him explaining that was also that it was that name wouldn't have arisen from, you know, it's like someone from Uganda is not going to name their son Peter. You know, it's like...
Yeah, if she's in Volantis, her name's not going to be Jean Poole.
Yeah.
Ugh. See, the fact that they even thought that was okay was just like, just give him a new love interest if you're going to completely change it anyway.
Right.
And, you know, I don't hate every change in the show either. There were some changes from, like, season 1 that I was okay with. I mean...
yeah, and the ones that have to do with budgetary, you know, constraints, that's understandable. I still absolutely hate that they made Ghost a midget direwolf.
He's a tiny direwolf.
And that sounds like it was all budgetary.
Like, why is Nymeria so big?
But man, there are entire scenes with crowds of people they could have cut out to make Ghost bigger.
I mean, they just, I don't know what they were spending all the money on. It's like, we're going to spend every single dime on making the dragons look as real as possible, but we can't spend anything on Ghost. And we're going to reuse shots. They reused freaking shot. Like that shot of John petting Ghost at the end. I didn't believe it, but it's like reused from like season 4 in the end.
Right, and that's okay. That's what the people that weren't watching us on Green Hand. I think that explains why Ghost never got bigger than a puppy, because in season 4 he was still mid growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they stopped using him, and they knew they were going to reuse that piece at the end, they couldn't have him grow to full size and then shrink back down at the end,
These,
because he should have been almost as big as a horse.
yeah,
Dire wolves are massive creatures, and instead you got a regular
he's a
wolf.
regular wolf. Like, what's the difference between a dire wolf and a regular wolf? Dire wolves are fucking huge. That's the difference. And, speaking of like sudden growth or the lack thereof, well, in this case, sudden growth, because it's like Gilly's baby. That baby was a baby in the in season 7. When they took it to Sam's like parents' house, and it's like a tiny little baby. Or was that season 6? I don't remember. Anyway, it was a baby. It was a baby in the last season. It's a tiny, tiny baby. And then in this season, it's like a child. It's like 4 feet tall. Like, I was like, what? Like, where is the continuity? And I feel like all that was just so they could be like, Arya's 18 now. That's all it was. It was just so they could be like, Arya's 18 now, so we can give her this cringy sex scene. Even though we've been doing everything possible to make her look like a little girl.
Never mention that scene.
Dude, they've gone out of their way in the previous seasons to like make her look like a little girl. They would like press her chest down and like do all this extra stuff to make her look like younger and more childlike. And then it's suddenly like, if you feel any type of way about this scene, then you're regressive. And it's just like, what? Really? Come on, people. You really gonna do this?
That's so bad.
Let me answer a few more super chats. So Patrick Mao said, I finally catched the beginning. Great channel. Thank you. No one's asking any questions. You guys can ask some super chat questions too, and I'll be more likely to see them because I'm getting a lot of super chats. I got to answer the people that pay me first, So, where's Poochie says, do you fear backlash to King Bran will prompt George R. Martin to rewrite something of the remaining material? Well, if that's a George R. Martin idea, George R. Martin's not going to rewrite something. Like, he's been said that he's not doing that. He's like, this is the story and this is what it is.
He's just going to make it 100 million times better.
Yeah, it'll make sense and it'll be satisfying in George R. Martin's universe. What's up, Heavenly Controller? What's up, dude? In my live stream, Heavenly Controller says, send me a super chat. Thank you so much. It says, I feel like George is low key super salty about the show and won't ever say it outright. Give it like 10 years. I feel like he might come out and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I was thinking this entire time.
When the non bad mouthing part of his contract expires.
Yeah, because like, make no mistake, he's pissed, and I've been peeping it for a minute. I've been peeping, and people would always say to me like, Quinn, you're reading too much into this, and yeah, he's not throwing shade. He loves this show. He's making money from it. Let me tell you this shit. Just because you're making money from something does not mean you're passionate about it, and does not mean you like it. It's like George R. Martin's making money from plenty of other things too. It's like, and honestly, I feel like it damages his brand a little bit with the amount of hate that this is getting.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's got a lot of pies in the oven in Hollywood now because of Game of Thrones, and I don't think any of them are. I don't think it's going to hurt as long as the other stuff he has a little more creative control over and can maintain a level of quality that his writing deserves.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, this season sucking so bad is probably going to drive sales of Winds of Winter way up.
Yeah. And, I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, this show sucks so bad. I got to read the books now. So a lot of you have been commenting on my channel saying that. And I recommend it because the books are a million times better than the show. But then I've also seen people, albeit less people, say stuff like, oh, I don't even care about how the books ends. If this is George R. Martin's ending, if Danny's going to go mad, then I don't even care. And I feel like those people are a little bit kind of shallow because
yeah, if
all you cared about was Daenerys, then like you were kind of like wrong about the story anyway.
I don't think those people read the books anyway.
Yeah, it's like this story wasn't for you anyway, right? Because we always knew George R. Martin wasn't gonna give us like a lovey-dovey, fluffy, happy ending. Like everybody knew that.
It's supposed to be bittersweet, but that was neither bitter nor sweet.
Yeah, it's like bland. That's what I said in my review. It's like it's not bitter or sweet. It's just like mashed potatoes. Like cold, unsalted, unbuttered mashed potatoes. But just cold mashed potatoes out of the fridge, unsalted, no salt, no butter, and it's just like eat this entire bowl and like it. It's just, that's what this season was like. It's just
Yeah.
okay. I got a lot more super chats too. Zach Verlotti said, "Bro, this last season had two good scenes. No joke." That's about it. That's the thing we can talk about. What did I like? Okay, dragons fighting in the sky was cool. Dragons fighting, but I wished. I don't know why fucking Viserion, not Viserion, but Rhaegal and Drogon didn't breathe fire on the white dragon. Fire kills the whites. It's like they didn't even try. Like that was like a little bit like, fire, Dracarys. You're always screaming Dracarys. Do it now.
John should be like, how do you make them breathe fire?
Like seriously. And you know what's crazy? They, like we said, they spared no expense on that dragon. Like in that episode 5 when they showed that close up and Dany was on the back of that dragon, you could see all like the little tendrils and like scales. That looked.
They have raised the bar for anyone who ever does dragons in anything ever again.
Yeah, because I remember when I was a kid, I was like Harry Potter and like who's gonna top this dragon, and then Game of Thrones came, and I was like, they've had the best looking dragons since like season 3. I feel like
Since Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Dude, the dragon in Dragon Slayer, I don't know if
Still
it's just my child memory, but that was so glorious when I was a kid.
Yeah, Smaug does. It's funny, like you go back and look at like Lord of the not Lord of the Rings, but the Hobbit movie. And Smaug looks kind of freaking terrible. Smaug does not look as good as Drogon at all. Like, it's just like because he talks, they like made him look kind of
Because he
like
talks.
yeah, like look kind of cartoonish, like a little bit. That was the problem with that whole movie. It's just like too cartoonish. Like none of this looks real. All looks like a set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a dragon with a mouthful of teeth isn't going to be using his lips to talk.
Yeah, it looked weird. Just like what?
It would be like a parrot. You know, parrots can talk just from the back of their throat.
I mean, everyone's saying Smaug. Why are you saying Smaug? That's what they say in the movie. I know it's Smog, but like in the movie they're all like Smaug.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got some more super chat.
When I first watched that, I freaking thought it was Tim Curry.
Really? It's fucking Benedict Cumberbatch, isn't it?
No, I know, but it's
Yeah.
they've got such a similar depth of
Yeah,
voice.
they do, for sure. Okay, Wizzoople says, does the Threat Raven now have immortal rule? Actually, on LML stream tomorrow, we're gonna talk about this a little bit. But that's a good point because it's like, okay, so the three-eyed raven, essentially, this is like something that's like passed down. So like, wouldn't he like once he gets like to like a certain age, wouldn't he have to like find the next one and be like, now you be king?
Yeah, I think you and I are in agreement on this, right? Like the three-eyed raven is as old as like the youngest
Yeah,
children of the forest.
yeah, as
And-
old as the oldest green seer. Like this is their stuff.
Yeah, and so therefore the children of the forest are now exacting their revenge on the world of men through Bran.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing that people don't even realize. I feel like watching this. The children of the forest just took over Westeros.
Yeah,
Like they did. The children of the forest just took over freaking Westeros. I mean,
they have grudges, these guys.
they've been holding the grudge for a minute. I mean, like when you think about it, everything
Old,
fits.
bitter child of the forest who's like 6,000 years old.
I mean, even if you just look at if you just look at the freaking show, right? I don't think they ever say. Do they ever say in the show that the three-eyed raven is Blood Raven? I don't think they actually say it, do they? Because if you,
It was part of the lineage.
yeah. So if you look at the show, it's just like the children created the White Walkers, and they never explain what they're doing behind the tree and what they need Bran for. It like never tells you ever.
No, the White Walkers were created for vengeance against the world of man,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I think we agree. When Bran is sitting there waiting for his friend, he's waiting for his old friend, the one he created back in the Night King, and then the that's why he seems disappointed when Arya kills him, right?
I can
He's like,
see that too.
and they were going to do some sort of a weird freaking melding, I don't know, and then take over the world. But Arya kills him, and then he's got this, and then I guess, I don't know, in the show, it seems so weird whether or not he can actually see anything in the future. But if he knows all the plans and all the millions of people that are going to die from Dany, this too would be him revenging himself against the world of man.
Yeah.
And it all just plays out with, if Bran is just the evil king, which is not how it's explained at all in the show. But if that's it, and that would be just,
That'd be
I
the
don't know.
best
To
twist.
me, that's kind of epic.
It's so eerie. Yeah, it is really really cool. I so see. I think it could be like that he was disappointed, and I also think that maybe that was just the way it was supposed to play out. That it was like this is the sequence of events that will end up with Bran as king. Like this is just what we have to do because I feel like he definitely sees the future, right? We're just not led on to like to what extent. I feel like after that cave, like stuff got way more clear for him, and he knew exactly what he needed to do. Because I remember before that, he even sees like we pointed out, he saw like the dragon above King's Landing. He sees like a lot of stuff, and then he sees like the wildfire under the city. Like he sees all of that in that freaking vision. So it's like he can get glimpses of the future, and that's like the whole thing. And then even like Blood Raven says to him, or the Three Eyed Raven says to him, like when they first meet, he says, "I've waited for you since." I forget how long he says, but for a really freaking long time, for a thousand and thousand years or something like that. Like he's been waiting for this moment. So like Bran is just the
He
revenge.
knows that his way out because he's part of the tree at this point.
Yeah.
He's so much part of the tree that obviously he can't go and do what the plan is, and the plan is to
Sit the throne. Yep.
yeah,
You got to get up off this werewood throne and get on the throne of Westeros. This is
they
where we will
playing the
really
Game
have the power.
of Thrones.
Because like Bran is at the center of like everything now, and no king ever has had this much power. This dude can literally possess people and make them do what he wants. It's like
Yeah.
okay, if you read X-Men, but you don't, if you've seen the movies but you don't read the comics, then you don't know that like sometimes Professor X does really 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 shady shit with his like psychic control people powers. Like he's not all innocent. So like with that kind of power, like I mean like I don't trust anybody with that power. Like anybody. And then he's all like, I'm gonna go find Drogon.
Yeah,
Like, what are you gonna do with Drogon?
Professor X as
Like
the
that,
king.
dude. So I feel like Bran. It's like he obviously knew Dany was gonna do this. He knew Jon was gonna kill her, and he knew he was gonna be king. And he even says it in this episode straight up. Why do you think I came all this way?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
that was the
idiots
creepiest
outside
part.
making
That was the
noise.
creepiest part
Oh my
because
god.
that means that everything he had done, particularly in this season, that cost hundreds of thousands of lives minimum, probably over 1 million lives, was all stuff that he had planned out.
And it's like,
So evil, dude. So evil.
yeah, it's like you're allow if you have the power to stop it, but you don't, you're allowing it to happen.
Right.
So let me
right.
get
You're not
some.
telling anybody how to stop it.
Brand didn't tell anybody anything. That's what was killing me this entire since season 6. I was
Yeah,
like, can we
everybody was complaining about Tyrion not telling everybody how to get up into the Red Keep, and I'm like, freaking Bran knows.
Brand could have told everybody everything. My God, like what are you people doing?
Would have been MVP if he was not on the side of the Children of the Forest. Hey, I am $5 away from $99,000 on my Lone Star Soul of the Soul campaign.
Yes. So we'll take a break to talk about Lone Star. But let me get these last super chats real quick, and then we'll talk about Lone Star.
Yeah.
All right. So like, let me get these last few super chats that popped up. Hoki Biskis, I can't say your name anymore. But you said season 8, episode 2 could have been deleted, and nothing of value would have been lost. You know, would you hate me if I say I feel like that's one of the best written episodes this entire season? Because that's the one that Cogman did. And like it's just that has some of the best dialogue and some of the best character interaction of any episodes. This of like a really long time.
Which one?
That was the one right before the battle where like Brienne gets knighted and
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's like I feel like that's one of the
It was the one episode with Hart.
yeah, that was like one of the episodes because I felt in that episode I was like I feel like they care in this episode like something's different. They care for some reason. Like singing Ginny's song and stuff. All right.
And for me, particularly because I have such an attachment to Dunk, that whole Knight of the Seven Kingdoms thing and being knighted was like, that just hit me square in the heart.
That was really good. I was like, oh, Brienne. Because I've always said I wanted Brienne to be a knight. You hate Brienne?
I didn't like her in the books. I actually like her better in the show than I did in the books.
I like her. I love how she's just like so outcast and just like everyone hates her, but she like pushes
But
through
her
it.
book chapters are so freaking boring. It's like reading the first chapter of The Hobbit over and over again.
Okay. Yeah. It does have that. It does have that like kind of. It does have that kind of. All of her chapters and feasts have that kind of like Tolkien feeling. Like she's like going on. Like she's like walking around for most of it. They're just going on
Yeah.
like kind of a token-esque quest. That's kind of like why I like it too. Like, cause like kind of honestly, like Lord of the Rings was one of the first things that I got my hands on as a kid, as far as fantasy. I don't know.
All right, go ahead.
Anyways,
Super chat, super chat.
yeah, super chats.
I'm gonna go grab a bottle of water. Be
Okay.
back.
Scoodberry says, Winds of Winter's probably done. George R. Martin waited till Game of Thrones ended. Actually, he said he didn't. But actually, Winds of Winter is very close, according to George R. Martin, and we're all super excited. So George R. Martin is saying now that he should have it by the time he goes to New Zealand in 2020. And honestly, I've been following George R. Martin for a long time, and he's never this confident. So this is kind of, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm wishful here. If he's saying that he'll have it done here, because he literally said if he doesn't have it, we get to imprison him. And I haven't heard George speak this confidently about a release in a really long time. So like fingers crossed. V T3 says George R. R. Martin might have sabotaged it on purpose. You know, I've heard people say that, but I honestly don't think so. I think George is more
I don't think
professional than
so.
that. Like he would have tried everything he could to make it good. Henrik G says, I do feel that you're overestimating George R. R. Martin. It's easier to create a lot of plots than tying it together, but my real question is that Bran is obviously Dune Kwisatz Haderach. Why would that make him a good king? It wouldn't make him a good king. That's like we just
No.
kind of discussed that, like because you posted this before we discussed that. But yeah, exactly for the reasons we said it wouldn't. It's too much power.
This also, this whole revenging thing could also be tied into the theory that it was a three-eyed raven or possibly even Bran that drove Ares mad.
Exactly, like that fits in so well with this. Because
Right?
can you? Cause look, too. This is one thing too. Like we don't know how much Bran power grew since he like fucking like got the three eyed raven shit. Because
Yep.
before that, he was already like exceptional. Like he could like warg into Hodor and do stuff like that. And then in the show, Jojen literally says, like in the book, in the show, there's no Varamir Sigskin. So Jojen says to Bran in the show when he does it to Hodor, he says, Bran says, I'm sure loads of people beyond the wall can do that. And Jojen says, show Jojen, not book Jojen says, no one anywhere can do that. So they're like setting it up like Bran is like the most powerful shit to ever fucking come ever. And then we
Yeah.
don't really get another example of like him warging like really anything except for those ravens after he leaves the fucking thing. So I wonder like could he just like get into somebody's mind without like them even knowing it now? Could he just like cuz when
What if,
Danny
what if he got into Danny's
that's
mind?
what I'm saying. Like from the beginning, like cuz when she's sitting in that scene and she's like getting all
You don't have to
pissy.
do this, Danny. I'm going to take over your mind now.
Like okay, when she's getting all pissy about like Tormund saying congratulating John and everyone like riding John, right? It's like why would she be upset about this? Like what if Bran was like in her mind like toying with her then like making her feel some type of way? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
kind of,
and even that. I mean, think of it think of it in sort of a demonic sense, where I mean, I don't believe where you're like feeding just you're not taking over somebody's mind, but you're just feeding ideas of envy, of jealousy. Just constantly like feeding emotions into her head,
yeah.
and then driving her into madness. And then he wouldn't really have to control her from that point because he's not warging into her.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows what his powers are at this point?
Yeah. He's like subtly pushed her into insanity. Like all I know is he has like some weird mind stuff going on. He can get inside of somebody's mind and do stuff. And like when
Yeah.
you start dealing with mind stuff, it's like, what? Dude, okay, honestly, Matt Harden, I don't think we're reaching here. Like all of this is set up. I mean, like literally all of it is set up.
This reads better than what came off on
Yeah.
screen.
This
This is
makes
like this
yeah.
is like the Jar Jar being the Sith.
Yeah. Like Bran being evil makes more sense than him not being evil. Like look at like, I saw this viral like clip where it was like the alternate ending of the Game of Thrones, and it's like Bran and he's like looking at John at the end. He's like he goes, John, you were exactly where you were supposed to be, and then his eyes turn blue and it starts playing like, "Dah." And then it shows him like warging in the Dany and like making her burn the people, and it's like like flashbacks, and it's like John's looking like, oh fuck, like can you imagine? Because like
Yeah.
no one would believe John. It would be like if right before John leaves, like Bran like lets him know like bitch, I won, I'm the Night King or something like that. No one would believe John. It's just like well, you still got to go north. Like what? Like he can't stop Bran. There'd be nothing that he could do to stop Bran at that point. It's just like what?
Oh,
Sorry. All right, we're gonna put the super chats on a pause for a little bit. We're gonna talk about some comics. All right.
All right.
So tell the people about your Indiegogo. I think I can pull it up on screen actually.
It just flipped over to $99,101. So Lone Star Solo the Soldier. Like I said, I've been doing comics for 27 years now. Lone Star is the best work I've ever done. Um, First book was 48 pages, sold $113,000 worth on Indiegogo, and the second book, available now, LoneStarComic.com. It's about a fallen soldier who was reborn as secret super agent fighting for the innocent against the darkest evil. Basically, he falls in World War II and he is revived and becomes the first secret soldier in a war against sort of the creepy crawlies, the things that go up in the night. In this story arc, he's going up against a vampire. He went up against a vampire coven in the first issue, and then spoilers. Sorry, I know you guys haven't read it, but one of the vampires gets away and starts a new coven, and so it kind of ups the stakes for issue 2. And he's like I said, he's part of this team called the Unknown Soldiers, and they're like decked out with equipment that has been designed for killing all the different monsters of the world. So it's like a G.I. Joe meets Blade kind of a thing. But I dress him up in his old flight gear and whatnot, so he looks. People say he looks like Captain America, but Captain America didn't have a star and a flag on his head. So.
Yeah, and there's like 11 hours left to back too. So yeah, get on
yeah.
that.
And this cover right here is by Ethan Van Sciver, the one you're showing.
Yeah.
I have 4 different covers available. Right now, only the Ethan one is available. But yeah, check out the tiers. There's some fun stuff you can get there. There's a digital copy if you're not interested in print books. But these are very limited edition. Indiegogo exclusive, and so eventually these are going to be published out like in the broader world on cheaper paper and all that kind of stuff. But these are it's fun, man. It's like the best work of my career. Probably. So here's the thing: when I was doing the Game of Thrones covers, it was like the one thing I would take all my time on. Right? If it took me 3 days to draw one, because I'm drawing every bloody ring of chainmail.
Wait. If you don't know people that just got here, Mike did the covers for the Game of Thrones comics.
Yeah. But that's what it was, right? I would take as much time as I had to on each page. But when I was doing like Injustice, which I'm best known for, I got to get 5 pages of the week done. So it's like if I don't finish a page before I go to bed, I'm screwed. So this, hey, you pay me $100,000 to do one comic book. I am putting all of my time and effort into every single page that I have to make it all just look like every page of my Game of Thrones covers. So it's literally like the best thing of my career. And I'm stoked to have so many people supporting me. Awesome. And I hope your fans will jump on board. How many of your fans love comics? We should ask.
Yeah, do you guys like comics? Because we got on this comic thing in another stream because we were kind of like throwing this weird idea around. Well, this is we were just kind of like for fun, like wondering like what would happen if like let's say like we got a season 9 of Game of Thrones or something. Because I always thought, just seeing that, I thought what is the potential for Daenerys to return? Like we've seen other people come back to life in this series, right? And so it's like who else would be like, if the Lord of Light will bring back Jon Snow, why wouldn't he bring back Daenerys, right? Daenerys is literally like fire incarnate on Earth. So you got Jon Snow killing her, and then the dragon takes her and just flies her off to like some random place. It's like, where would he fly her to? Like if he took her to like the priest of Volantis?
Oh, I just thought of another thing. So she's got a short sword or a dagger stuck in her. What if so our little vision was we opened the story up with Dany rising out of the lava, right?
Yeah.
But she pulls the sword out of herself and it's Lightbringer. Dude,
can you imagine? Can you imagine like Drogon takes Danny, back to Volantis. These red priests were like, we know what to do. They put her in like freaking volcano, like in a shire somewhere. She rises about it. Like the dagger comes out, and it's like Lightbringer. It's like a flaming dagger. Can you come on? Come
These are
on.
the, and then
And
we have the real setup for ice and fire, right? Because the Ice King is leading Westeros. Dany's over here with her red army. You
yes,
know,
yes,
ah,
exactly. Like so it would be the real A Song of Ice and Fire. You got the Children of the Forest. This guy who created the White Walkers versus Dany and her Red Priest and all these guys that are going to do anything to make sure fire conquers the world. Do you think the Red Priest would give a crap that Dany just set an entire city on fire? Melisandre tells you in season 3 that death by fire is the purest death. She whispers that into Davos' son's ear before he dies. She says death by fire is the purest death. Daenerys said she liberated the people. She did. She cleansed them with death, and the Red Priest would be behind her 100%, and they would definitely help her conquer the Ice King. And so that was just kind of like, we're not gonna do that comic story, but that's the one we were just kind of dicking around with. And we were like, yes, that would be such a cool comic. But like,
yeah.
I would do that, but I don't want George R. R. Martin to hate me because he hates fan fiction so much. So it's like, yeah. But I feel like,
We have to change all the names.
yeah, we would have to change everything about it.
It's Donnie.
It would have to be Donnie, like Jon Snow. Donnie. God, what? He just said Daenerys. Like, say Donnie, it'll be more intimate. Like, get away from, like, come on, screw you people. The heck out of here.
Uh,
Oh my god. And then like, okay, so I don't even know what I feel like was the worst episode of this season. I guess if I had to pick the worst episode, I guess it's I don't know. Do you think the last one's the worst? Or
uh,
or like episode
for just bad storytelling, I would say the second to last one was the worst. But
yeah.
for just being an absolute nothing burger, I would say the last one was the worst.
Man, that last episode was just like a big pile of nothing.
It's like eating a hamburger made out of styrofoam.
Just like a big pile of just like boredom and just like
Yeah.
like as soon as Daenerys died, it was just like, what are we gonna do for the rest of us?
Yeah.
Because like they killed her so early
The
on.
highlight and probably the only really great thing about that episode was Drogon.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying 5. A lot of people are saying 3. Like yeah, I wouldn't say 3 just because 3 had so much going for it, but then it also just had so much against it. Like that ending. I mean, that's one of the worst. And that's one of the dude. The Night King. Let's talk about the. I know I've talked about Night King a little bit, but let's have a whole like little chat about this, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the worst fantasy villains ever that's ever been portrayed on anything ever. Like it's like I don't know. Can you think of a worse one? That's just like been set up this fucking hard that he's gonna take over the world and destroy the world. He's like such a huge threat, and then his weakness is like so it's just like a prick, and he doesn't even prepare for it. He doesn't even wear armor that can like protect him from this. Right? It's just like boop.
Well, devil's advocate, you could say the dead are his armor.
Oh my god, talk about being deflated. Well, not when you got Arya that can jump out of nowhere. Dude, can you believe someone said I was complaining about this on my personal Facebook, and someone was like, I was like, I can't believe they just made Arya just jump out of nowhere and kill him. And this chick, one of my quote unquote Facebook friends, one of my friends, she comments and she says, I don't understand why you're mad. Didn't she go to Bravos to train how to jump out of nowhere? And I'm just like, okay. See, this is the problem with people that just watch the show. Because it's like, and also I can't even blame people that just watch it. It's like the showrunners, because I read the books and I have no idea what the fuck Arya was doing in Bravos. It was like, what was she even doing there? Like in the end when she kills the waif and then Jaqen comes to her and he says, now you are no one. I'm just like, what? And like, is she or is she not? Like, what are you talking about? I just hated it.
Yeah, she's still in Bravos in the books, right?
She's still in Bravo. She's still doing her thing. I'm pretty sure she's going to go back to Westeros. I always thought that because she hid Needle. So it's like she's gonna go back, but she's here for a reason, and she's gonna do something important. And it's just like, not this. It's not jump out of nowhere, and just she literally jumped off a trampoline. Trampoline. It just made me so mad. I'm just like,
She
oh
jumped
no.
off of a table
It was so stupid. And
with wires. With wires.
episode 3 was the breaking point of a lot of people, but it really took till episode 5 before everyone else broke, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people were still hating on me when I was criticizing episode 3. They were like, "Oh, you're still being a douche about it. You're still not blah 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 blah. You're still being a hater." But then when
Yeah,
episode
no, we had
5,
this
everyone
conversation
turned.
on Order of the Green Hand. I enjoyed episode 3. I watched it twice and I enjoyed it both times. Um, it was, yeah, episode 5. And then it sort of slowly cancers all the
Mm-hmm.
way back through.
Let me let me do like kind of, I don't know what's the word, like a anthropological analysis. That's definitely the wrong word, but like of like the Game of Thrones like society, like the fandom, right? I
Hmm.
feel like the Jon Snow fans got pissed in episode 3. Like the Jon Snow, just like the fanboys that just love Jon Snow no matter what. They got pissed in episode 3 because he didn't fight the Night King, and that was when that half got really pissed. But then
Yeah.
the Daenerys half, that like just Daenerys like fanboys, got pissed in episode 5. And once you got the two main fanboy groups like hating the show, then it like all the Arya fanboy group is not enough to hold it up. Sorry guys, like it's not when the Dany fanboys hate it and the Jon Snow fanboys hate it. It lit the internet on fire.
And then the John Malin, Tyrion Lannister fanboys hated it,
Yeah,
episode 6.
yeah, dude, I was so sure Tyrion was gonna die though. I was like, Tyrion's a goner. I was like,
Why was he still alive?
oh, Tyrion and Jon should have been dead.
Yeah.
Tyrion and they're okay,
Well, as far as holding someone of high stature as a hostage, that keeping John alive could make sense. But Tyrion,
yeah.
the whole rest of his house was dead. There was no one they could have bartered him to.
And she already said we were gonna kill him. She already like sentenced him to death. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
just kill him. And then, but really, I honestly do not buy Grey Worm not killing Jon Snow immediately upon realizing that Daenerys is dead. Because
But I haven't bought Grey Worm from his first episode. I never understood the casting of that character, and
yeah,
it's just
it's wrong, right?
yeah.
It's not right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just kind of like the actors. I like the actor, so it's just like I never really just like hated on it too much. But like, yeah, based on book Grey Worm, it's not even kind of the same
Yeah.
character. Doesn't look like him. Just
Sully, dude, they should have looked like tanks.
yeah, like they're like these like skinny dudes, because they're all modeled after Grey Worm. I feel like they picked him
Right.
first, and then they were like, let's make all the other Unsullied look like this guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it's not hard to armor a skinny guy up to look like a big guy.
yeah.
So they could have gone the other way with that.
But honestly, though, I feel like Grey Worm.
The Rock for Grey Worm.
I mean, if you don't got strong Belwas, you might as well make Grey Worm like this super big buff dude, right?
Right.
But yeah, Grey Worm would have killed Jon Snow. He was killing random Lannisters in the street for like no reason, and then Jon Snow just killed the Queen. He's already pissed about Missandei. Like that's the whole reason they're over here. They would have been like, nope, you're dead. I feel like Grey Worm would
I
have killed.
really think Grey Worm wanted to kill Jon Snow in the street
Yeah,
because that freaking look he gave him before Jon started fighting. I think he had either he wanted to kill him himself or he had orders to kill him.
yeah. I feel like Daenerys had already said that Jon Snow betrayed me. Jon Snow is the one who betrayed me. So I wondered if Grey Worm, who's like he's been with her for so long, he might have picked up on like, oh, things aren't too hot between her and Jon Snow. Like Jon Snow's not in with the Queen anymore. So he probably like was already picking up on that, I guess.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I got some more super chats.
Do it.
Let's go. Let's get into some of these. King Gladiator said, other than creating a united North, the entire Night King plot was pointless. Dude, no one else in Westeros even knows that there was a Long Night, that there was White Walkers or anything. Like, dude, in the books, when this happened the first time, there's legends all over the entire world about this. And it's like here, it just seems so small and insignificant. It didn't even get out of the North. No one even knows. Cersei didn't even like get a chill. Like that's just like ridiculous. So I totally agree. And then base Dinobot says, what things in the final do you think are from George R. Martin's ending? I think Bran being called Bran the Broken has to be from the books. Isn't he already called Bran the Broken in the books? I'm pretty sure.
Calls himself Bran the Broken,
Yeah, I
but
think.
not nobody else calls him.
Yeah, But I think that that's definitely in the books, though. But yeah, I think King Bran honestly could be a potential ending or something like that happening because like from the beginning George R. R. Martin has stressed Bran's importance as a character. Like the first book opens up with Bran. I mean, there's a prologue, but then the first chapter is Bran. And then I always think about that coma scene where the Red Raven says, "This is why you must live," when he shows in the land of always winter. Like, what does that mean? Like, looking at seeing the show and seeing what the show did, him now I think about him in the book showing Bran the land of always winter, and then Bran crying, and then his tears freezing, and then him saying, "This is why you must live." That takes on a whole new implication to me. You must live because of the White Walkers because you need is it you must live because you need to fight the White Walkers? Or is it you must live because you're like a part of this and you need to help this shit like succeed? Like what does that mean? Like thinking about
Mm.
it now, I'm thinking about it from a whole different perspective. Because you guys on my channel, you know I've never trusted the children of the forest. I've never trusted that they've had mankind's best
I'm
interest in mind.
starting to think, and I don't know all the back history as well as you guys do, um, but I'm trying to think how much of this can be interwoven as you know, the way he may have attacked Bran or the Three-Eyed Crow may have attacked Ares. How far back can that go? Can every major disaster befalling the world of man?
Be just Brand, like at any point in time.
Right, right.
That's
Like when Aegon comes to Westeros, maybe he came in peace.
you know what I think?
And the three-eyed crow's like, ooh, dragons.
I think Brand can probably like look far as back as to like when the first werewood tree existed, right? And so he exists like at any point in time from there to now, and then he can also glimpse the future, right? So he can literally go back and change because they showed us in this show that Brand can affect the past. They showed us. So
Right,
it's like, what does that mean? Think about the implications of this, people. Come on, it's not far fetched.
right,
That's
right.
all there, like black and white. It like really is there.
Wouldn't it be funny though if Aegon came across the sea like on a diplomatic mission?
So what happened was see that kind of fits in because like the story of Aegon, right? It's like let me see if I remember correctly, and you guys probably remember it better than me. So like he was just fine with Dragonstone at first, but then this guy was like, "Hey, marry one of my daughters," and then Aegon was like, "No, I already got two wives, but you can marry this guy." Who was like I think it was a Baratheon maybe it was like one of Rhaegar's like close buddies, right? He was like, "You can marry this guy," and so the guy was like, "No, screw you," and he sent the hands of the messenger back to Aegon, and it was just like some random king in Westeros, and so Aegon was like, "Motherfucker, really?" And so he waited like 3 days or something, and then suddenly he sent ravens out to all seven corners of Westeros, and basically the ravens all said, "Bow down or be destroyed." It was literally like just because this one guy dissed me, because this one guy did this, taking over all the shit. So it was kind of sudden. It was just kind of like out of nowhere. It was just kind of like, oh, I'm just taking over everything. This guy
I
pissed
blame
me off.
Bran.
Yeah, it was Bran. It was Bran. I mean, it fits. It fits. Okay.
Right? All of the madness of oh well, think about this. Because the Targaryens have a link to dragons, maybe that madness that is implicit in so many of the Targaryens uh, has to do with that link making them more susceptible to the powers, whatever it is, of the three-eyed crow.
Yeah. See, that's the thing because we don't. That's an interesting question that gets brought up in the fandom a lot. Like, how similar is like the Targaryen bond between their dragons to like how Bran is like skin changing into the wolves? Because
Right.
it seems like in the show, like Dany's bond with the dragons is much more like how like the Stark children bond with the wolves. But in the book, it's like she has way less control over them. It's like there's something there. There's definitely some kind of connection. Like Drogon can definitely like feel Dany and sense her on some level, but we don't actually know to what extent. I don't know, but it's an
Yeah.
interesting idea. Got some more super chats though.
Yeah. Oris Baratheon, he was half brother to Aegon, right?
I don't exactly remember. Like my mind's so fuzzy, all these names and details, something like that. So,
I order the green hands in the chat. What's up, guys?
oh, and I saw Gray Area too, but I forgot to say, hey, like order the green hand, Gray Area, all you guys, you're awesome. What's up, peoples? So Matt Fogler, actually, and also everyone, me and Gray Area's second episode to our podcast, Brand One, should be coming out in the next few days. So that's gonna be on her channel this time, and I'll post it when it's out. But Matt Fogler says, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Why did D&D cut away from Tyrion? Ask Bran to tell him the story. Did they not want to spoil their twist ending? Perfect setup. Chance wasted. I don't know what that was. I feel like that was just throwaway dialogue.
That was throwaway dialogue.
Yeah, because it was like I always knew that either in the beginning of this season, before any of the episodes aired, maybe like one episode had aired, I said that I think either Sam or Tyrion was gonna live because I said, and you can go back and look at this. I said one of them had to write the book, The Song of Ice and Fire, at the end. I said that. I said one of them has to do it. And when he was telling Tyrion that, I was like, oh, so maybe it is going to be Tyrion. Maybe Sam's going to die. But it's like, no, they kept them both alive, and then still it was just Sam that did it. But then I cringed when it happened, though. It's like I knew it was going to happen, but I cringed so hard because it was like it didn't fit. It was like, if George R. R. Martin did this, I would get it, and it would be like a moment. But it doesn't fit here because like Sam's like suddenly like the Grand Maester for no reason. It's like I wrote this entire book and like, dude. And by the way, that book looks really nice. Like how much time has passed?
Well, he didn't write it, right?
Who wrote it?
The Meister from the Citadel.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think so.
Did I just miss that, guys? Who wrote that A Song of Ice and Fire book in the show?
He said that he helped with the title.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Because apparently he was eavesdropping on Melisandre when she was talking to.
I guess that makes more sense. And I guess I don't know about that much about how much time it takes to like make a book like that in the Middle Ages, I guess. But it seems like that would take some time, though, right?
Several years of writing.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot. That's a big book, and that shit has like pretty art in it and like calligraphy.
Yeah, and if George R. R. Martin was writing it, it would take like 50 years.
Right. Right. Yeah, so I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know why they call it A Song of Ice and Fire because I don't see any kind of A Song of Ice and Fire in this show at all. It's just like there's no song. Like, there's no. It's just like I saw some dragons kind of fight some White Walkers, except they didn't even fight the White Walkers. They burnt some whites, and then it was like, it wasn't really. I don't know. Whatever. Next super chat. BJJ says, also, is the Stark name extinct or will Sansa pass the name on to her child? Dude, honestly, show Sansa, I feel like show Sansa is so like, she's not, the Stark name is not going away anytime soon. She's the Queen of the North. She's like, my children will have the name Stark. And I feel like they should, honestly. I feel like they could use with a little bit of rule changing because names are powerful. And I feel like the Stark name is so powerful that it would almost be like stupid for Sansa to like marry another lord and then take his name or even give her like kids that name. If Sansa's gonna marry, she should have him be just her husband and not the king. Like, you are my husband, but you are not the king. You know what I mean?
Victoria.
Yeah. So it's like, and
that's
just
probably
keep the
what
name
he's doing.
Stark. Yeah.
I mean, if that's the way it ends up in the books.
Yeah.
This is that constant caveat, right?
Yeah.
It's the way.
Dude, the Finger of Scorn says RL plus equals nothing. R plus L equals nothing. Dude, you're right.
So I actually had this theory of Born of Storm of Swords, where the song is because it's recorded that what is it when Blackfyre and Lady Forlorn were clashing on the Redgrass Field, their song could be heard for miles around.
Yeah.
And I always thought that could be, the song of that battle.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it was the swords. It would have been Lightbringer versus Ice, or at least one of the swords. Maybe a sword renamed Ice, or one of the swords that was forged from ice.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would kind of indicate two people at the head of this battle. But that's probably a tinfoil hat theory.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. This fucking show, I don't know what they're going to... I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know. Fuck it. I know... let me just say this. I know for a fact that fucking Jaime Lannister isn't gonna fucking fight fucking Euron Greyjoy, and then Euron Greyjoy is not gonna fucking die happy that he killed a fucking one-handed man that can barely fucking fight that
I
somehow
was,
survived the long
you
night
know,
anyway.
that that whole scene should be just excised from the show. Euron should have just died. You know, when he got burned to death, he should have died.
Dude, how the how the f is he on this ship when the dragon hits it and then he's still alive? And then
Awesome.
this same episode, literally a few minutes later, there's like a scene of like the dragon flying above head, and it's like taking out like a row of like a dozen dudes. That's like deep. It's just like killing them. That flame and length
Little
is so
fire
big.
burst blows up like it's filled with freaking gunpowder, and somehow or another he's engulfed in that flame, that concussive blast of flame, and then just shows up to fight Jamie.
It is so stupid, and I think they were trying to copy what happened in Blackwater. But if you go back and look at that scene where like the ship gets blown up, it's like Davos is out of the way before the flames like blow up the fucking ship. It's not like he's like on the ship and it like blows up everywhere. So it's like fuck you, man. Okay, more super chats. Garcus Bloodlust. I actually got a few backed up. Actually, let me run through these. Garcus Bloodlust says, do you plan on doing some deep dive YouTube videos into the Witcher universe since Netflix adaptation is coming? I really enjoy your insight on these adult fantasy slash sci-fi properties. Perhaps. I do actually like the Witcher game a lot. Henry Cavill is playing the Witcher on Netflix. If it's good, I don't want to really like cover really like TV shows, but maybe I might talk about it somewhat. Lucy Lestat says, have you guys ever watched Berserk? So many people have been recommending this to me. Every time I do anything, people recommend Berserk to me. It's a manga too, right? I feel like it could be the next Game of Thrones just from talent people adapted it to TV. Yeah, I gotta get on that. So many people have been recommending it to me. I love graphic novels, and I don't love anime if I'm being honest, but I do love graphic novels even if they're mangas. But yeah, I'll try it. BJJ says, thank you for your super chat too. Love your content. Do you have hope for Winds of Winter by the end of 2020? Also, do you think we'll get a Dream of Spring before George R. Martin passes? I've heard he's writing some spinoff for HBO. Say it ain't so. He's helping with some spinoffs. But yeah, I said earlier in the stream that George R. Martin right now sounds very confident. And he hasn't sounded this confident in like, I don't even know when. And he usually just says it'll be done when it's done. But he has officially gone onto his blog and said that if he doesn't have it by the time he goes to New Zealand in 2020, that if it's not released, then we can arrest him. Then we can officially imprison him in a dungeon and just... He said that on his blog. So I haven't heard him sounding this confident in a while. So like we're hoping for maybe like a late year, like maybe December announcement, at least, hopefully. So yeah, because we'll see. We will see. And as far as like George R. R. Martin...
I honestly think that he's probably got, because George doesn't necessarily just write one book at a time. So I think he's probably got a good chunk of Dream of Spring done too.
Even though he's saying he doesn't.
You know what I mean? Because he'll write stuff. I mean, he's been writing this thing for 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's probably got chapters that he wrote, and then it was like, this isn't going to work in this book, and he just shoves it over, and probably started compiling a bunch of chapters for the final. Hopefully, the final book.
Yeah.
Split that up.
He's like, actually, that's 2 more. I can't do it in 7. It's gotta be 9.
I was thinking an even dozen.
George R. Martin is such a good writer, though. I think about like how he got me to read the same chapter twice. Like there's like a Feast for Crows chapter where it's like John talking to Sam, and it's from Sam's perspective. And then in A Dance of Dragons, you get the same chapter, but it's from John's perspective. And I'm just like, like you are so good. And it's interesting on both ends because it's like you learn shit that you didn't realize before. It's like, oh, so this is what John was thinking this time. So
yeah, it's sort of taking the that was sort of doing what we did with Jamie, right? Mm-hmm. Or what he did with Jamie, where from everybody else's perspective in the kingdom, Jamie was the worst piece of dirt on the planet. Right. Yeah. And then when we finally get Jamie's perspective, you're like, oh,
he's actually not so bad.
It's some really douchey stuff, but he's he's at least someone, you can root for.
Cersei makes him worse,
Yeah.
And I got more super chats coming. Let me get these last few. Black Eye Diddley says, who is the guest speaker? This is Mike Miller. He did the covers for the Game of Thrones comic books. So he's worked
Yep.
with George R. Martin many times. Also
I
has his own
gave
comics.
Sir Duncan Nuttall a face.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find that book. George signed the GRRM retrospective for me, sent it to me,
And that's what he wrote in the on the title page. He said, "For the man who gave Dunk a face."
Yes. And yeah, so the reason I chose to have Mike on this stream is because like at the end of this, I'm gonna throw out some ideas for a potential comic that I might be writing, and then Mike will work with me on some of it. But we'll talk about that later. Got some more super chats to get through. Connor Bryant says, over under another civil war in Westeros. What are you saying? Over under on another civil war in Westeros.
Chances of another civil war in
What are
Westeros.
the chances? I think none. Not with Bran. Not with King Bran. And not especially if King Bran has a dragon.
Oh, well, forget about that. Any other king who decides they want to rise up against him, he just warred into him.
I mean, yeah, exactly too. That plus that. And I feel like Bran too, like
Control over the world of men now.
Bran is, make no mistake, Bran is the most powerful king that Westeros has ever seen.
Yep.
Like it's and it's just the implications of this are crazy. I got another super chat from Heavenly Controller. You should definitely check out his channel too, Heavenly Controller. He's great. He says Bran claims he can see the future, but also says he doesn't know if Dragonfire works on the Night King. Yet another plot hole, or he was just lying.
He's lying.
Yeah.
He's been lying this whole time.
Yeah.
And that is, the prophecy of him flying. That's Drogon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even fulfilled in the book. It's just that little cast off. I'll see if I can find him. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
I destroy you all.
even in the book, when Bloodraven says, "You will never walk again, but you will fly," I feel like it's supposed to make you think about ravens, but I couldn't help but think about dragons.
Yeah.
Right? It's like he's gonna warg a dragon. That's what it seems. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna get inside a dragon.
Yeah.
So
And Bran's gonna have. They're gonna redo the throne room, and they're gonna plant a weirwood tree as the throne, and he's gonna sit on that, and then he's gonna merge into it, and he will be the emperor forever.
I was thinking the same thing, right? Because
Really?
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Because like, what is he gonna sit on? Obvious, it's that's a logical step.
Yep.
Weirwood throne, like, come on, dude. Kayana Ingram just said Bran is a liar. What does old Nan tell you? All crows are liars. Does she not say that? And then they fucked up in the show by calling them ravens. But fuck you. He's a fucking he's the three-eyed crow. You know, honestly, screw all you show people that want to correct me. I'm not even gonna say three-eyed raven anymore. That's dead. It's three-eyed crow. All crows are liars.
Show is over. The
The show
raven
is
thing.
done. It's finished.
The crow.
It's over. It's over.
Crows are liars.
Okay. Dude, you guys are piling in with the super chats, but thank you guys so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. You know, it's been such a crazy month, like just on the tidal wave. Like it went from like everyone hating on me. The turn on my channel was so significant. It's just like from everyone hating me and calling me a hater to everyone loving me and being like, oh, this guy was real from the beginning. Yeah, you already know. Yeah, I wasn't gonna lie to you people. You're always gonna get honest content on here. I'm never gonna like be like this is good when it's not. I don't care how much I like a thing. More super chats. Coin Hole says, I liked Show Dany as a hero and didn't buy her going out of her way to kill zombies, then killing millions of innocent, ishing more evil in the books. I recommend check out my video, Is Dany a Bad Person, in the books, for your answers to that. Because there's no indication that Dany in the books or in the show has it in her to kill millions of people, a million
She's
people.
absolutely righteous.
No.
She does horrible things, but she only does horrible things to horrible people.
Yeah, and it's always like in defense of like someone that's like helpless or like someone that's done something like terrible that deserves it. Like, she killed the wise masters. Dude, that's like defending like Nazis or something. Like defending the wise masters. Like she killed them because they literally like hung up 163 slave children who before that they were enslaving. These people have slaves that they do not treat nicely. Like, I mean, like, come on. They deserved it. If anybody deserved it, it was them.
Righteous. She was a righteous ruler. And hey, they said that in episode 1 or 2 of this very freaking season, right?
Dude, yeah, I mean, and someone even tweeted to me about a conversation where she was like, I think it was Dario, he was saying to her, like, you're the Dragon Queen. You can do whatever you want. The people will bow before you. And then she was even saying, I need to be more than that. She's like, I need to be more than just like a conqueror, like a dragon queen.
Yeah.
And
No,
then,
they threw away everything been building her up to be. And if George does this in the books, he better make it make sense.
and everyone's been making so many good points about it because like they really have been pushing that she's gonna save the world. Everything from like her music, like the music, if you listen to it's like it's like it's like heavenly, like this is like this is the savior of the fucking earth. Like so you're feeling all these like deeds she's doing with this grand music, and then later you want to tell us that it's bad. But you're the ones that put in this music telling us how to feel this whole time about like this fucking hero. And then even Jorah says to her back in season 2, he says, not only should you rule, but you would be loved. He's like he's like a person like you doesn't come around like every like 1,000 years. Like a person like you comes around that should rule and can rule, has the name, has the capability, and has the heart to rule. Like they were pushing that so hard just to turn on it, and it just makes me so disgusted and just sick, and just like I just feel like you're so stupid. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like if you're defending this and you're thinking that it makes narrative sense in the show, giving all that they've shown us so far, then you're not looking at this hard enough, and you have some kind of weird bias. Because I know a lot of people have this weird Daenerys hate boner for some freaking reason. People just hate Daenerys and just want her to fail all the time. And even I have pointed out the inconsistencies in her character through the season, but this didn't make sense even with the inconsistencies previously. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
And you know what? It's funny because I don't want to bring up personal reasons, but I'm acquainted with grief, and I excuse character changes at times of grief. But this isn't like just. This is just so on a dime, completely contradicting everything. That it's like. I don't know. Like I said, usually I'm more lax with my forgiveness of them altering like things that characters do because of grief, because grief can be so incredibly devastating and just just change your entire outlook on life. But it doesn't change a person's entire character.
Yeah.
You know.
And some people in the comments are saying they've never liked Dany. Well, see, that's the thing. I can understand not liking a character, but does that mean that she would have burnt all those people? Like, honestly, think about that and be honest. Even if you don't like her, like, okay, you can hate Sansa. Like, if the people in Winterfell were like, "We don't want you, Sansa," do you think Sansa would just like get some wildfire and like set them on fire or something, just anything like that? Like, even if you hate that character, that doesn't mean that they would do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and even her explanation of it in the last episode just kind of makes it worse.
Yeah, it's like what? What do you even say? I liberated them. You set them on fire.
yeah, you burned innocent men, women, and children. Well, Cersei was using them against me.
No, she wasn't. She literally wasn't though. They were just in the street. She literally wasn't using them against you.
Oh, they were Cersei's human shield. That's her what she's trying to say. But it's like, okay, even if granted you have a 1 million person population human shield, you have a dragon. You can fly right over them to where Cersei is.
My thing is, it's like in like one of those earlier episodes, they were like people were going into the Red Keep, and then it was like she can't burn the Red Keep because there's people in the Red Keep.
No, but see the human shield, and I understand this. Bringing the people in to act as a human shield wasn't shielding against Dany. It was shielding against the invading army, because as an invading army, you have to go through all of the population or whatever. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. Dany can fly directly. It would have taken her like 5 seconds.
She could literally fly straight to fucking Cersei's window.
Right.
Like Cersei was staring out the goddamn window the entire time, just watching Dany just burn other shit.
Yeah.
Like if you want Cersei, just get her.
You know what would have been so funny is like Dany was like, if there's like I should do a cartoon strip for this. Just have Dany go like, take Drogon up and like aim down at all the innocent women and children. And she goes, Dracarys! And Drogon just goes, wait, what?
He's like, wait a minute. Them? Dude, I wonder if her throat was like sore after that because I just imagine her like screaming Dracarys the entire time. There's like Dracarys, like screaming, like burning in his.
I picture her like standing on top of Drogon, twirling around like
Dude,
the hills are alive.
I wonder why they didn't show her face when this was happening. I feel like it was. I think it was another thing. Was like they didn't even know how to direct Emilia Clarke. It was like they didn't even know what to tell her to be expressing. Right. Because
crazy. Do crazy.
Okay, we got some more super chats. Let me start with down at the bottom so I don't like get behind like that.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Let's see. Where am I? Night King's Pointless. Okay. BJJ says, thank you for another super chat. Why didn't the Northmen root Lord Glover out of his keep and hang him on the way down to King's Landing? Just another one of them plot holes. Another one of them things, you know what I mean? Another one of them Game of Thrones. Another point where they didn't care. You know, so many of these problems come from them just rushing it, guys. So many of them do. Henrik G says, there were already thousands of northern soldiers in place, plus all the lords that got the message from Daenerys. That could have made for a great Mexican standoff after Jon killing Dany. But you know, they just wanted the ending episode. It was just like I knew it was all over after Dany died. Actually, I knew it was over when Dany started burning people. I said then they're just gonna make Jon Snow kill Dany now, and then it's just end of the fucking show, and then nothing else is gonna matter. I held on to the end for like a neat little brand twist. It still didn't happen, and it's whatever. Garcus Bloodlust says, The Witcher is a collection of novels, not just a video game. The game is based off these novels, and the show will be based off these novels as well, so you wouldn't be covering just a TV show. It is novels. I always forget. I haven't read them. I did hear something about that writer, like, hating the game or something, that he didn't like it or something.
You read the Kingslayer Chronicles?
The Kingkiller Chronicles? Yeah, I have.
Kingkiller? Sorry.
Yeah, those are good.
Game of Thrones mixed up.
I've done a couple videos on those on my channel, actually.
Those books are great.
They're really, and also you want to talk about writers that are taking a long time. Patrick Rothfuss, you know how long he's been working on the last book, Doors of Stone, since Winds of Winter. He's been working on, like, his last book came out the same time as Dance of Dragons.
Damn.
What was it? Not Name of the Wind, but Wise Man's Fear came out at the same time as A Dance of Dragons, and we've been waiting just as long for both of those books. But people don't give him as much shit because he doesn't have a popular show based off of his books, so it's like.
He's trying to be George.
Yeah, I mean, I said that at JordanCon when I went to the convention. I was like, I'm convinced Rothfuss won't release his next book until George does. I mean, when George releases his, I mean, he kind of has to. Like, there's no excuse anymore, Rothfuss. Like, George, a Song of Ice and Fire is way more complicated, and this is only your third book, so you should, like, I don't know, dude. You need to get on it.
Yeah.
All right. So BB Ploki says, I love your content. Leon Dune. My name isn't Leon, so I hope you don't think my name's Leon. My name is Quinn, Quinn. But thank you for your super chat.
You need to start branding a little better.
I know. A lot of people don't know my name. A lot of people are like, what? What's? A lot of people just call me Ideas, but it is Quinn. It is Quinn. You know, Quinn is in some language, in some archaic language, that means wise. I don't know. I looked it up one time and it said it meant wise. I don't know. Because I'm the smartest person on the internet. Dude, yeah. I've been seeing, I tweeted the otthe day, I was like, the like gif of like the girl like being shocked or pretending to be shocked. I was like, who could have predicted Game of Thrones sucking at the end? Laughs and years of content on the internet about why Game of Thrones sucks. It's like, I've been doing this for a minute. So Coin Hold says, I liked Show Dany as a hero. Oh, you already read that. Mary Evans says, all hail God King Bran. I mean, basically, God Emperor Bran.
The Immortal. Bran the Immortal. That's what they should have called him.
Bran the Immortal. Dark Mother, what is up, my friend? Thank you so much for your $15 super chat. She says, thanks for channeling my anger. You are very much welcome. Joseph Balin says, which character was assassinated the most by D&D? Jaime, Stannis, Dany, or Euron? Euron. Because Euron is just more of like a full-on character assassination. There's like nothing about that character that's right. Like Dany is right for most of it. Stannis is right for most of it. Jaime is right for most of it. But then it's like Euron is just trash. What do you think, Mike? Do you agree with that? What's your opinion on that?
I do agree with that. And I was going to ask you, what do you think? I know it's all speculation. This is all speculation.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Do you think Jamie's really going to do that in the books?
What? Go back to Cersei?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, she might be fucking Moon Boy. Is all whatever he says. Tyrion has totally poisoned him.
Great arc, the redemption, and that's the thing. George is all about redemption.
Yeah.
Right? And that just flushed all of his redemptive qualities right down the toilet.
Yeah. In the book, like, Tyrion has totally poisoned Jaime on Cersei. Jaime is totally waking up. And then, like I said earlier, like, Nikolai, that actor, he's been arguing with these writers since season 4 about the direction of his character, and that's so fucking crazy, because that was the moment that I was like, why is Jaime going to Dorne? Like, why is... Apparently, he hated it as much as I did. So while all these people were mad at me on the internet, just know the actor that was literally on screen in those scenes that you just loved so much for some reason, he hated every freaking second of it. So there you go. Even he hated it.
Hey, yeah. We're almost up to 1,000 likes. If 47 more people could hit that like button, that would be epic.
Hit the like button, guys. Please do so. Please do so. It'll be fun. Hit the like button.
Yeah, any of you guys are from my channel and you're visiting here, please, you know the rules. You hit the like buttons. It's your price of entry.
It is your duty. Do your duty, like Stannis said to Brienne. Go ahead, do your duty. All right. So I keep getting super chats. They keep piling on. Keep piling them on, guys. Lots and lots of questions. So Laura J says, greetings from Germany. What are the chances of getting a remake sometime?
And you just bumped to 1,000 in a second.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so supportive. Best followers ever. So Laura J, okay. On a remake. See, I don't know. I think 15 years and we might have like an animated type deal. Like, this isn't going to be done as live action for a really long time, guys. Like, this is going to, like, it's going to be a minute. I can see an animated thing.
This is generational.
Yeah,
it'll like decades and decades before they do this again.
Yeah, they're gonna because this is like something like you can't just bring back Game of Thrones in like 10 years. Like, you cannot do that. Like, this is like, because we grew, like, a lot of people grew. I feel like I grew up with this show. I grew up with the books too. I was reading the books before the show, but like, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, I've been reading these since 2002.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time watching this show and reading these books. Since like I'm about to be 25 in actually 6 days, my birthday month, on the 31st.
Hey, happy birthday.
So yeah, I've been reading these books since I want to say I was like 12 or 13, and it was like I didn't have them all at first. I think I think A Feast for Crows was just coming out. Like, it might have come out like right after I had finished the first 3, and it was just like I thought these books were just like I shouldn't be reading this, but then my parents can't tell the difference between these and like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, so it's like they don't fucking know. So I can read it anyway. So it's because it's like they don't know what I'm reading. There's like some fantasy stuff they don't know, so it's like, yes, read this. And it was like it's fucked up. I don't recommend it to kids. Kids should not read it, but I did. But yeah. So that's honestly, like, people have always been like, why do you get like so mad about this stuff? I'm like, dude, like, I was like almost the same age as Jon Snow, like, reading these books. Like, come on. Like, I had such a deep connection with these characters, like, from the beginning, that it's just like, I can't help but not feel emotional about this shit. Even in the last episode, when I thought I didn't care anymore, I was like,
yeah, dude, this is the same. This is what's happened to the whole Star Wars fandom, right? It's, you have all these people who have loved Star Wars for so long, and then they start. I know you don't care about Star Wars at all. But this is like there's a whole industry of Star Wars hate now.
Yeah.
And it's a hate born out of love, right? Because you loved it so much, and then they just started turning in all this freaking crap, stupid social justice warrior storytelling and just bad writing, and it all turns into hate. And now there's this entire industry of Star Wars hate, and this is what's happening in the last few weeks with Game of Thrones.
I mean, because I think people want good stories. I think people in general are just tired of seeing the same shit over and over and over again, and just like that's just people seeing people not try, and then just thinking that, like just thinking that, oh, they'll just accept anything. Because I definitely feel like David and Dan felt like that. Because like they kept saying like, oh, for everyone that's vocal and complains, most people like it. So I feel like they just kind of got this mentality that everyone just loves this no matter what we do. So they'll just accept anything. But I feel like where they really messed up is like, okay, maybe people will give you some passes, but when it comes to an ending and when it comes to all these characters and like giving them a resolution, like if it's not like solid, people are gonna feel that. Like people like have been invested with this stuff for years. The ending's not right.
They also probably got to the point where they just they may have decided that the critic pool was so small that they didn't matter, so they just tuned critique out altogether.
Yeah.
But when you've got George, like, how can you just ignore what George says?
Oh, can these assholes not ride dirt bikes on my street? Yeah, but like it's like go on and pass by, assholes, showing off your fucking stupid dirt bike. Get off. No one fucking gives a shit. God, I fucking hate the human race sometimes. Like, God, what was I gonna? Yeah, but it feels like George R. Martin definitely had some problems, and I feel like they knew it, but they just didn't care. I honestly get that sense. I feel like it wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. How can you not care? George created this universe that you begged and pleaded for him to let you play in, and then you get so high on your horse that you just don't. You think you know better than freaking George R. R. Martin. I mean, George is my favorite author.
Yeah,
you know.
Mean, I think I feel like I started hating them as soon as they started saying shit like, oh, we thought it made narrative sense to change this, and we're going to start making more narrative changes from the books. And they were saying that. They started saying that shit. That's why it kills me when people are saying, like, oh, like, they ran out of source material. They started saying that shit in season 4. And, you know, do you guys not remember that season 4 was just supposed to be the other half of Storm of Swords? That's what they told us at first. They said that season 4 was going to be the second half of A Storm of Swords. And everyone was under the impression that it was just we're going to split the books from now on. Because we were like, oh yeah, so the books get longer. Like A Dance of Dragons is really long. Like A Feast for Crows is really just part of A Dance of Dragons. So it makes sense to just keep it like going like that. But it was like, Morgan Steele, please watch your language. We're talking about Game of Thrones here. Like literally a show where the Hound says, what does he say? He says, if a man dies with a clean sword, I will rape his fucking corpse. That is a line in Game of Thrones, and you think we're talking? Our language is not great.
Well, my kid is in the room.
Whoops. Whoops. Sorry. Time for me to watch my language, guys. I'm such a potty mouth sometimes. I really am, though.
But well, you get excited.
Yeah, I feel like if you're watching a stream about Game of Thrones, you should not complain about it.
But yeah, George was right when he was asked about that, how long it's going to be, and he's like, well, they've got enough content for 12 or 13 seasons, and they're like, we'll just do this 8, then we'll just half-ass the last one.
That was so funny to me. It was like at the Emmys when George R. Martin is like, oh, there's like, why is Game of Thrones ending? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. That could have been 15 seasons.
Crap about, the actors want to go on and do other things. No, they are in the biggest show in freaking history. And, you've got other shows that go, 14, 15 seasons. There's no way. Most of these guys this is going to be the highlight of their entire careers. Exactly. And so I doubt any of them would have been like, what, you want to do it for another 3 years?
Oh, I don't want to make millions of dollars? Like what?
You want to pay me how much for how much longer? Gee.
I mean, and to be like worshipped.
Peanut butter commercials.
I mean, come on. Like, see, I didn't even realize this like that because I didn't know that much about TV. I watched this documentary on like Star Trek Next Generation called Chaos on the Bridge, and they were basically explaining like when an actor gets a recurring role on a television show and then it gets popular. That's like the best job that an actor could ever ask for, because it's not just a movie where you're just doing one thing. This is like a consistent paycheck. This is a paycheck every single freaking year. So it's like
HBO's biggest cash cow ever.
Yeah, it was
Dumb and Dumber. Dave and Dan are 100% at fault for everything that's wrong.
And then HBO even came out and said like, hey, we want 10 seasons. This wasn't us. Dude, someone says I can see Lena Headey winning out. Well, if all she was gonna do and was stare out the window, then I can understand why. Because it's like Tasha Yar on fucking Next Generation. She wanted out because all she did was like sit behind, stand on the bridge like for like every episode and do nothing. So it was like I'm bored here. But I mean, Lena Headey is getting paid how much money? Millions of dollars per episode.
What a wasted character. Lena Headey's a great actress. And Cersei, as much as, you hate her because you're supposed to hate her, but she's such a great character. And all they did was have her sipping wine and looking out a window.
And then cry when shit got real. And it was just like, why did they make a big deal about her having such this huge plan? I thought she would have known that she needed something more than just the Golden Company and some. I mean, maybe she didn't think she needed more than Scorpions because their Scorpions were doing a pretty good job before. But it's like, I don't even want to think about it.
She's better at the conniving plans than she is at battle plans.
Yeah, because like even in Blackwater, it was her idea with the wildfire, but she didn't know what to do with it. It took Tyrion to step in and be like, we're gonna use it this way.
They make a great team.
Yeah, I agree, dude. People don't even know. People think I'm crazy when I say this. Like Cersei and Tyrion are such a good team, especially in the show. In like season 2, when they're like hanging out a bunch, like that scene where like, God, okay, it's like I forget what's happening, but it's like Cersei is like crying, and she's like, I wonder if this is the price we pay for all the evil that we. Or she says something like that, and she's about to cry, and then it's like Tyrion sees that she's hurting, and then he like almost walks up to her like he's gonna hug her, but he like she like looks at him and then he steps away.
Oh, this one he's sending Marcella?
It's one of those scenes. It's one of those. I don't know if it's the Marcella one because she's like really pissed, but it's like one of like a moment where they have like kind of almost a moment where he can see that she's in pain and he like almost comforts her, but then he doesn't, and I'm just like, oh. But then they were just such a great team, though. I really do think so because they balanced each other out.
Thinking back to that makes me because when he cried when he saw her dead at the end, that irritated me.
Yeah.
But thinking back to their relationship, I recant my irritation.
They've always had a complicated relationship. Yeah. Like he's never been able to kill her, and then she didn't kill him when she had the chance. I mean, because we're talking show now. We're talking show Cersei and show Tyrion, not books. But I feel like they hate each other, but they also love each other. He's still like, that's my sister, even though she's like fucked up. I mean, she's messed up, and she
had chances to kill him, and she did not.
Yeah, exactly. But I got more super chats. Laura J says, greeting. Oh, read that one already. Benji says, it would make more sense if Dany comes to Westeros and treats the Great Lords the same way she treated the Masters of Slaver's Bay. It would be morally ambiguous and have better foreshadowing. See, that would be interesting. Like, if she just comes there and starts being like, no, you are not going to treat the common people like this, and you are not going to do this, and if you resist, then I will burn you. Then I feel like that would kind of make it more ambiguous, because then it's like she's coming to Westeros and really trying to shake stuff up. Because, like, it's like everything in Essos with the slavery is so obviously wrong, but I feel like it's more vague with Westeros, because like these lords and stuff, like these are like some of the main characters, and like a lot of these people have done really bad stuff. Like Ned Stark did bad stuff. Like from like if you look at it from a different like context, like beheading someone for leaving the Night's Watch for running away. I mean, I get it, you make oaths, but like still, that's kind of like.
Well, that's the law.
That's the law. I get it, but like at the same time, slavery was legal over there. So it's like I could see Daenerys coming in and being like, these laws are barbaric, just like she tried to do with the Ironborn in the show. She's like, you won't do this anymore. You won't rape and like reap and pillage anymore. You're not gonna do this. I could see her coming over and being like, this is barbaric. This needs to stop. And then people resisting, and then her being like, well, then burn, basically.
And keep in mind, her whole mentality is not born of the time or the period or the place she is in. Mm-hmm. Her whole mentality, her whole ability to empathize and sympathize is born of how she was raised and how she was treated as a child.
Yeah, by Viserys.
Because her character is a character out of time. Because this is supposed to be medieval. Life didn't have, life and rights and all that stuff that we take for granted here in the time and place we live. None of that existed.
No.
Right? This was all her, just from how she was shaped and the justice she sort of came up with on her own, just through how she empathizes with other people. And then throwing all that away to burn everybody makes it just worse.
Yeah, I know you guys can hear that. They're being assholes out here. Someone should call the cops. There shouldn't even be dirt bikes on the road. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, Daenerys backstory. I was gonna say
It
that.
really doesn't come through that loud.
Yeah, I can hear it so loud on my end. It's just like, brah. But like, yeah, Daenerys' backstory too. Let's talk about like where she comes from. Like, this, she was like essentially like just a slave of her brother Viserys. They had
Mhm.
nothing. They had to beg to get people to take them in. Like, so she's a princess, but she came from nothing. And then her own brother, he was vicious to her,
Yep.
brutalized her, sold her into slavery. She got brutalized even more in slavery with Khal Drogo. I mean, they eventually had a thing, but like not before she like thought about killing herself in the books. Like, she thinks about killing herself, and literally all she wants is to just go back to the one place where she was happy, the house with the red door, and just to return to that. And it's like
Mhm.
Viserys has always pushed on her, like, we have this dynasty and we have to rule, we have to rule, we have to rule. This is the greatest dynasty ever. So when he dies, my interpretation of that character in the books is that she's not just deciding to rule just because like I get to rule. It's like because like Viserys has like pushed it in her head that like we belong here. So it's like I'm stepping in where Viserys can't out of respect for him. And just don't think that Daenerys doesn't have any respect for her brother Viserys, because she definitely does. Like, one of the dragons is named Viserion, obviously. So it's
Mhm.
like she's like, I'm stepping in and doing what he couldn't do, but still throughout the books, it's like House with the Red Door, man. It's what I really want. It's what I've always wanted. It's not the throne that Daenerys really wants. It's the house with the red door. And
It's peace and safety, and that's what she wanted to bring to the world.
it's I don't know.
But
More
she
super chats.
by learning everyone.
Yeah. Patricia says, never forget David Benioff made a conscious decision to sew Deadpool's mouth shut. Yeah, so like in that I forget which movie that is, but it's in one of those awful X-Men movies.
Wolverine Origins or something like that.
I hate all of those movies just about. I like one or two of them. I like.
That was the worst. That was the worst of all of them.
I don't think I even saw that one because I was just like I can't. I was just like I can't. I saw. I like the Days of Future Past one. I like the First Class one, and I like maybe the first one ever. And I guess X2 is a decent movie, but they're just not X-Men movies. They're just like, I don't know, not X-Men like how I know them from the comics.
Yeah. No, I think the reboot, the younging down, going back in the past and starting with all the stories from the 80s,
It's definitely a
Days of
lot
Future
closer.
Past, and you know what? I want to see what they're gonna do with Dark Phoenix, because if it is based,
Fucking Sansa.
I know, but it's not like she's a bad actress.
No, she's not. I just.
You got to divorce Sansa from Jean Grey.
But the thing about with this Sansa movie, I'm just gonna
I,
call it.
it's one of my favorite
It
moments
is, yeah.
in comics history is the end of the Dark Phoenix saga, and I'm just praying they actually do that in the movie.
Well, the thing about Sansa's thing, I mean, they it feels like they're doing the same thing they did in the last Phoenix thing, where it's just like she just goes bad, and it's like they don't even show like the progression into her like going crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know,
Well, yeah, because they're trying to do it in one movie.
because they got to give up this mantle to Marvel, and I just don't know if Sansa is the person for Jean Grey. I've never thought of her as Jean Grey. I'm just like
No, I didn't. I didn't either.
fucking Sansa.
No. But you know what I thought they should do?
What?
Because dude, Avengers is dead. They're done.
Yeah.
They're losing Cap, or they lost Cap. They lost Iron Man. I think Hemsworth's over.
I'm gonna call the fucking cops. I swear to God.
I think what they should do.
I'm
is
that neighbor.
Huh?
I said I'm that neighbor. I'm about to call the fucking cops. They don't. They should not be riding dirt bikes on the road by my house when I'm trying to do a freaking live stream. What the fuck?
Okay. So speaking of X-Men,
Mhm.
what Marvel should do, because this could lead back into us talking about comics for a minute, but it's the movies. Avengers is dead. What they should really do is they are getting the Fantastic Four back. They're getting X-Men back. You know, they have Spider-Man. Whatever. They should just do a total paradigm shift where they bring the Hulk from the Avengers story in, and they start at Hulk 151, introducing a new actor as Wolverine, and do that mission of Wolverine versus Hulk, and then introduce the X-Men through that, and then start taking it down that tier of the Marvel universe. Get away from the whole Avengers thing. Maybe you could, like, you know,
tease those characters into the other angle, but start from there, because you'd be launching from the Avengers with the Hulk into the X-Men. I think it would be a great way to reboot the X-Men at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, don't put any of this Fox stuff in there. Just delete all of these people, new actors. Like, just like I just feel like this Dark Phoenix movie is gonna blow, and I'm just gonna be done with it. I don't know. I'm just not interested. I wish Sophie Turner the best in everything, but no, this isn't it. This isn't it. Like that last movie, like Apocalypse. The one thing I liked in that movie was when he like took the missiles, all the nuclear weapons, and like deleted them. I was like, I wish someone could do that in real life. But I got some more super chats. Like Rugard says, "Thank you so much for your super chat, Rugard. Did you burn your Blu-rays yet? By the way, the Wicker books are kind of good, but not superb. Okay, I did not burn my Blu-rays because I said that I would only do that if Arya killed Cersei. I don't know why people are so confused. I said if Arya kills Cersei, then I will film myself burning my Blu-rays. And I was totally prepared for it. I bought lighter fluid and everything. I got my grill in the backyard. I was going to film it. I was going to light these suckers on fire just for the camera. I probably would have bought more. Not going to lie. I probably would have replaced them. But just for the camera, I was going to burn these motherfuckers. But, like, I didn't, so. Just saying. Henrik G says, just saying, since keeping John alive would make sense. Is that a follow-up to something else you said? I think you did say something else. Oh yeah, see, yeah, I agree. Dang it, I got a lot more super chats that I didn't even notice.
By the way, the Night's Watch is messaging us on Twitter.
The Night's Watch?
I mean, Order of the Green Hand.
Order of the Green. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you guys are so supportive with the super chats, dude. These people on the dirt bike. It's like right because it's like okay, look, these people. Let me be real. These people are like right outside my window, and like I can see them. It's like a guy on a dirt bike driving up and down the street with no helmet, and like I feel horrible because I keep like wishing that he'll fall the fuck off of his goddamn dirt bike because he's like, I'm such a bad person. Just stay quiet. This is everybody's neighborhood. Linda P. Golan says, keep doing what you're doing. Looking forward to Dune. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your super chat, Blah Riot. You didn't say anything, but thank you for your super chat. Wow, you were born the same day as me, May 31st, 1994. Yep, that's my birthday. I am Ben Starley says, Quinn, I'd love to treat you to lunch in Nashville for a con. Well, if you're going to be there, then sure. Hunt me down. I'll be there. DS Style Boxing. How would Tywin deal with Dany's invasion in the show, assuming his alliances stayed in place? Oh, Tywin. I feel like Tywin would have wrecked Daenerys. Tywin's too capable, man. I mean, if Cersei managed to kill one dragon, Tywin would have at least killed one dragon and wounded the other, I feel like. Like, Tywin's a boss. But then again, Joffrey did bring up Daenerys to Tywin in like season 3 or 4, and then Tywin was like, dragons, and he kind of dismissed it, so maybe Tywin needed a little bit more insight there. Carter Nichols says, thanks for the spoiler warning. I have no idea what I spoiled for you, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
And then also thank you, Nathan Costco, for your super chat. All right, so those are all the super chats, man. We got caught up completely, man. What haven't we talked about yet? Jon Snow. Jon Snow was an extra this season. McQueen. I saw some of you guys saying that we need a T-shirt that just says McQueen. McQueen. That's all he did this entire season. Just tell Daenerys she's the queen. Thank you so much, Esther Gayoba, for your super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat. You guys are sticking through the stream. Yeah. Anyways, Jon Snow is such a loser this season, and it's just like, God, why are you even here? It's just clear like all these actors were just here to make money. It's like Cersei didn't do anything. Jon Snow didn't do anything. Dialogue in this season was to a minimum as well.
The actors for that.
What'd you say?
I said don't blame the actors for that.
I'm not blaming the actors at all. I'm just saying like they were just here. I'm like they didn't give them anything to do. The
Hmm.
Except Arya. Arya's the only one that did anything.
Yeah, it irritates me when I go see a movie, right? A
Mm-hmm.
movie, and it's like it's got all these amazing effects, all this great acting, wardrobe, everything is just amazing, but the freaking script is terrible, and you're like, it's the first thing you should get right, right? It's the
Yeah.
first thing you get right, and then if you're going to spend $200 million making the rest of the movie, make sure you get the script right. And they did this whole thing where you have everything in the show was not perfect, but as perfect as you can get for a
Mm-hmm.
TV show. It is historically the best looking, best produced show I can even think of.
100%.
Yeah, and then Lena Headey's sitting there drinking out of a drinking wine.
Dude, so it's like, is there an echo? Someone said stop the echo. There's not an echo, is there? God, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I can't even think about how many actors this show just wasted. So many talented people. Like just Jamie Lannister himself. He's like so talented. Alexander Siddig from Star Trek that they just brought in for no reason just to kill him in Dorne as Dorne Martell. I was just like, that was so just like lame. I would love to
Mm,
see what he feels about it, because he's just like, because I know he probably like got this character and then read the book and then was like, oh shit, my character's got some like real deal stuff playing, like some like deeper like Machiavellian scheming type stuff going on. But then he did nothing, and then that's just super sad. Everything about this show is just sad, man. Like honestly, after that first episode, and last episode, I was more sad than angry. And I think you can. I think that comes across in my review because I'm just like, ugh. And then also relieved was one of the feelings that I felt. Just like glad it's over. Glad it can't get worse than this unless they give us this Arya the Explorer spinoff, which they totally might do because it's like,
Jeez, please no.
dude, do you know why I think they're gonna do it? Because it's like they're already like people love Arya. She's the top character. Do you see how many people have named their daughters Arya compared to the other characters in the show?
I'm the ones that named him Danny.
Oh, right. But like thousands of people name their child Arya. It's crazy. And then
Yeah,
it's like,
a friend of mine named his daughter Arya.
yeah, I mean, and then they're setting it up for her to like go sail the Sunset Sea. Like, never been explored before, even in the book. So they couldn't even. I mean, I guess it technically has if you read Fire and Blood, Alice Westhill, but we don't know exactly what she encountered. But like they could actually though, that's another reason why they might do it, because they could take some of that stuff from the book with Alice Westhill, because Alice Westhill, she all her life she's like had this dream of sailing the Sunset Sea, and they started to set this up with Arya like in season 2, I believe, with Tywin. She's like, I want to see what's across the Sunset
Yeah,
Sea, or somewhere she says it. But
I think
so
the Shire is across the sea.
yeah, the Shire. Well, in Fire and Blood,
She'd fit right in.
yeah, Alice Westhill in Fire and Blood in that book, she does cross the Narrow Sea, and not the Sunset Sea. Spoiler, right? And they encounter all types of stuff. Like there was even like a crazy kraken scene where like a kraken attacks, and like I mean that would be cool to do in a show. But I don't know if I want to see Maisie Williams anymore. I mean, I've nothing against her. I just don't know if I want to see her as Arya anymore. But I guess if different people were writing her as Arya, then maybe they could. But then again, she's already been set up as like this ninja character that it's just like to take
Well,
her
if,
from
if David Dano were writing it, she would go across the sea and start a brothel.
right. Uh, okay, so look, if you were gonna do this Arya show, I feel like the only way that it could work is if she was less of a ninja. But then it would be just it would mess up the continuity though, because she was such a ninja before that you can't have her not be a ninja anymore. And I feel like her being a ninja in this show can kill anybody, would ruin anything, would ruin everything. Because but then if she because it but then if she wasn't, I'd be thinking like, okay, how can she not survive this, but then she can survive Long Night, kill the Night King, survive King's Landing being burned, but then this hurts her. She can't stop this guy. So I guess there would be a lot of problems that I would end up having with it. And I just don't want to see Maisie Williams as Arya anymore. I'm just done.
Um, well, maybe she could end up in a place that's more like China
Ooh,
with a bunch of
E.T.
kung fu masters.
Empire of the Dawn. See, that would be better though. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this whole last episode though was like setting up spin-offs though, right? It's like it could like I could see any one of these could have gone to a spin-off. Like any plot, like Jon Snow going north, like what are they gonna find up there? Like the dragon flying away. Oh, could he bring Daenerys back? Or like what could happen there? Like even Sansa in the north, like what's she gonna do rule the north? Like Everyone was like, let's set up all these little stupid spinoffs.
Yeah.
They left it open. So Easter Gayoba
But
left another super chat.
interestingly, they set that up in
Esther.
such a way that they could have spin-offs, yet you would be completely disinterested in watching them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, I would not care about what Jon Snow was doing beyond the wall. I would not care about what Sansa was doing. I mean,
What they should have done is, okay, so let's try to set this up for each individual fork in this split up.
yeah.
They should have done at the end of Bran's, when they're wheeling him out, he should have smiled and his eyes turned blue. Cut.
Yeah.
John, he should have gone into the woods, and again, Drogon shows up.
Yeah.
Cut. What could you do with Sansa though?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Did you see that like clip of like Game of Thrones alternate ending? And it's like the winter was extremely harsh for Sansa Stark's rule, and it said something. It's like most of the people starved. It was like something like this. It's just like she totally fails as a leader. Because like I feel like I've never bought Sansa as a leader. I know they've been trying to push like Sansa is super smart for like the past couple of seasons, though, but I've always been just kind of like, she doesn't deserve this intelligence. Like, this just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ooh, how about Arya? She's riding off into the Sunset Sea, and there's an armada. She runs right into an armada heading her way.
Dude, like invaders from like where, like the Empire of the Dawn or some crap. Now, Bran, I'm like but though I'll be like Bran, though, Nick. Really, Bran? Like, you could have like warned somebody about these ships.
Right.
I know,
And then,
you
of
saw
course, the final scene for the entire season, Dany rising up out of the lava.
Dude, come on now. Yeah.
Dude, that would have just been...
That would have been cool. Because it's like in this whole show, it's like they've set it up time and time again that people can come back. I mean, it only makes sense that people are gonna think that maybe Dany can come back after seeing that. Because look at it like this: why the heck did the Lord of Light bring Jon Snow back? For no reason, it seems like, unless the Lord of Light brought Jon Snow back specifically so he could kill Daenerys, so that Daenerys could later be brought back to life and filled with the fire of R'hllor, like Melisandre is filled with the fire of R'hllor in the book, and then she could be like this fire goddess, the Lord's chosen one. Then she could really ignite the world. But yeah, I have to say thank you, Esther Gayoba, for your super chat. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated.
One more. We have. I know. I don't want to see it, but Brienne of Tarth, her top half, with her in bed with the thing floater, and her looking like sad because of Jaime, and then she rolls over and Pod's in there.
Dude, Brienne, no, I
Pod
can't.
starts singing.
Not Podrick and Brienne. I can't take it. I can't. Dude, honestly though, I didn't like Jaime and Brienne together.
No, that was the worst.
I thought they had a great friendship going, and the fact that she just cries when he leaves. It's like, oh my, I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. I tweeted this yesterday. Because I thought about this like after I did my review. You guys don't even know how mad I am after watching this episode a couple times and just realizing what happened. That Daenerys, the queen that just conquered an entire kingdom and just set all these people on fire, dies literally begging a man to be with her. Like, literally begging a man that's already told her twice that he doesn't want to be with her. Like, begging him. Like, these dudes do not know how to write female characters. And then she just looks like, oh, you killed me, when he stabs her. Like, oh, you killed me, I'm so sad. Like, you just killed an entire city of people. She should have spat blood in his mouth. She should have raged. Her face, if you're gonna have her go mad, her face dying should have been like pure rage. Just pure like, I hate you. Like, if I could kill you, I would kill you right now.
She should have clawed at his face like the eagle.
I mean, she went out like a little like, oh, the man doesn't want to be with me and he killed me. I'm so sad. Like, what?
That's what it should have been, like this struggle, right? Like she loses her crap and she wants to yell out for Drogon, and he should be like clamping his hand on her mouth, trying to, and then she's like clawing at his face. oh, that would have been at least exciting.
Dude, I mean, because she just went out so like lame, and it's just like
Yeah.
Jon Snow is like feeling some type of way. Why are you letting him? It was just so he could get close to her, so they could just like, ugh. I just personally just hated that, and it's just like I've never believed them as a relationship, anyways, as like a romantic partners, anyway. So it's just like, and that on top of that was just like you're gonna kill Daenerys is Queen Daenerys. This conqueror that's done all these things. Her last moment is like begging a man to be with her. That's just like so pathetic and just like ridiculous, and I just hate it. It's one of the worst deaths, like just. And then she doesn't even die like a dragon. It's just so sad and pathetic. Either she's crazy or she's not. Commit to one of them. Dark Fierce gave me a super chat. They say Arya ex machina. Exactly. Nathan Kosko says after show for episode 3 made it worse. I didn't even watch it. Retrofitted prophecy and plot to fit their BS. Bran reminds me of Bia's from Joe Abercrombie's First Law trilogy. Never read that. But yeah, I don't watch their after episode things. They're so pretentious and just lame, and I've never been able to take it. After a really long time, I stopped watching them. After a really long time, I did. It's a while ago. Coin Hold says, "What's up with the Lord of Light and all his prophecies being a huge nothing burger? Is the Lord of Light even real?"
This is the most annoying thing.
Exactly. Like it's like, I mean, because this whole time they're like, the Lord of Light is bringing us back for a reason. The Lord of Light brought you here for a reason. Melisandre, the Lord of Light led me here for a reason. I'm bringing ice and fire together. But then her purpose is just to light some matches. She's a match. She's a magical fire starter.
And she's the worst match ever.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
There. What did we need her for?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you already got dragons. You don't need a lady that comes around and lights fires. Well, I guess if Jon Snow is just going to sit literally on the tower and not light the trench when he's right there, I guess you do need Melisandre. I mean, like, what?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Maybe Bran was controlling Jon.
That just explains away everything. Like Bran, it's funny though. You could solve so many plot holes with Bran. You really could. You could fill in so much stuff with just Bran manipulating everything. It's just so poorly done though. And then I got 2 super chats from Sab Marcha, and they're just some monies. And thank you so much for your support. It's always appreciated. So guys, like we've been streaming for about 2 hours. You got any more questions for us? You got anything else you want us to talk about? We can throw that in before we head out. Thank you for another super chat, Jon Snow, and it's spelled Snough. So it's like Jon Snow. That's cool. Another one from that's the first time you've sent one. Lunis, thank you so much for your super chat. Just one second.
Yeah, do you want to talk about any of the ideas you have for comics?
Yeah, I will in just a second. They completely ruined her this season, especially the last episode. One scene she gives him stink eye, and literally the scene after she's acting like a teenager in love. Exactly. All right, so yeah, me and Mike.
Let me. But that might be excusable in the sense that now she has everything she wanted, and the one last thing she wanted was Jon.
I mean, but why though?
Yeah.
I mean, like you can get
women, right?
I mean, Daenerys. Like honestly, dude. Honestly, just think about it. Nobody in the entire world would say no to Daenerys except Jon Snow. It's like she could have literally any man, anybody. Why are you so desperate for Jon Snow? Like, come on, you can do better. He's lame. He's weak.
Well, because she either has to have him or she has to kill him.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah,
so the only option she really has.
I mean, but yeah, he did it to himself though. Like, why did he tell Sansa? That was so stupid.
Yeah.
CT, it's definitely gonna stay up. So yeah, I mentioned, guys. Also, I didn't tell you I got invited to Comic-Con too. Yeah.
San Diego?
Yeah, I got invited. What's it? Chris Gore, I think his name was, invited me. Let me look him up real quick. Yeah, Chris Gore from. He asked me if I wanted to be on one of the panels. Chris Gore from Film Threat, the Film Threat podcast, and filmthreat.com. Yeah, he tweeted me and he was like, "Hey, you want to come on a panel?" And I said, "Hey, yeah, if I have something to talk about." And it looks like I might have something to talk about if this what we're doing here becomes anything. So I have this idea for a comic. And right at the end of this, I'm gonna tell you guys my little idea for a comic. Just give you like the brief little synopsis. So The story centers on this character, Tadia, and Tadia is a witch. But it's much more. It's I feel like I gotta give you the broader context of everything first. So, fictionalized kingdom. It's loosely based on medieval England, I would say. So you got this group of witches, coven of witches, who are kind of like they're not the main focus of it. They're kind of behind the scenes. Really, the main character Tadia is the main one. And so essentially, what they do is that we've heard this concept before. Like you approach them, you need something, power, money, someone to die, love. You go to them, they'll either answer you or they won't. But they'll only answer certain people. They'll only answer people that they can manipulate, someone that they can use later, because there's always a cost. They will call on the debt at some point in the future. And so essentially what has went down is they've moved into a very tumultuous time. Witches are being hunted all over the place. But these witches, they have the upper hand because they have a king on their side, or so they think. So many, many years ago, this coven made a deal with this family, and essentially the coven allowed this family to become royal. And because they are royal, they owe a debt to the coven. So they go to the current queen. You need to help us. We are being hunted. Do what you do. He says, no, I will not bow before you crones. Be gone from here. And you might think, why don't the witches just destroy him then? Well, I'm putting in a little tap of George R. Martin-ness in it. Not too much. But it's like the concept of kingdom. It is not an easy thing to undo a king. So they can't simply undo a king the way they would do just a simple, irregular guy. Because the people have lifted this man up and said, I am your king, and there is power in that. So the coven has to devise a decades-long plan, and it's a plan that's over the course of 16 years. I mean, the story isn't a 16-year story, but like their whole setup is 16 years. And basically what they do is they create Tadia. And I kind of have this scene in mind for how Tadia comes to be, right? So you got these witches. This is kind of like what I'm thinking about my opening scene. I'm going to ask you guys what you think about this afterwards. It's got my opening scene, like it's raining, storming. Got this noble house of nobility. They're walking up to it, like the guard's like, you can't come right here. They're like, he knows who he is. They go in there and there's like this noble guy that we're calling on the debt. It's just a random guy, like we're calling on your debt. Like they did something for him back in the day. He's like, what do you want? What do you want? We want your eldest daughter. He's like, no, you can't have her. And they're like, no, you got to give us your daughter, or else you want everyone in your family to die? We'll literally kill your entire family. Give me your eldest daughter. And he's like, damn, I got to do this. So they say to him, in 3 days, leave your door unlocked and your house unguarded. So the witches, 3 days later, they go in the woods, mixing up some stuff. They cut their hands, each of them, all 12 of them, put their blood in it, and a golem rises out of the ground. A golem goes to this noble's house, goes to his eldest daughter's room, who is also married to another noble, but he's not around. Does his thing with her, totally violates her. She thinks it's a dream. She doesn't realize she's being raped by this horrible golem monster. She becomes pregnant with Tadia, who she believes that is the child of her husband. She dies in birth. Tadia is raised by her husband. And, you know, the story is basically the witches have created Tadia as a weapon to undo this king. And there's a reason that she's part of a noble house, because they want her. I don't want to spoil it exactly, but she's their weapon against this noble king.
Yeah, don't give them the whole story.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. I don't want to give away too many details and spoilers, but I have a lot of this thought about. There's even something special about the name Tadia, and I'm just gonna throw that out, and maybe some of you can figure it out, maybe some of you can't. So yeah, we're gonna work on trying to turn that into a comic book form, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And so we'd be running an Indiegogo for that, and yeah, it seems cool. So what do you guys think? I got some super chats too. Let me answer these real quick. J Lord says, one creator to another. Quinn, can you do a video on my e-fantasy book, short story on the Island of Grotesque, available on Amazon? I've watched your videos for years. Would be honored. Well, J Lord, I think you messaged me on Patreon, right? We can talk something out. Like, hit me up. I'll make a note for you. We can talk something out. So, Mike, what do you think? Because that's the first time you've heard like that whole thing.
It is the first time. Yeah, your first just little bit of information. I'm not big on witches myself.
Yeah.
And,
no title yet, guys.
I'm still going to help you develop this however I can. That's interesting. What you just told me, I find much more intriguing and much more interesting than
Well, you didn't hardly tell me
I
anything
didn't
last.
tell you exact because I wasn't ready to like say everything that I've been thinking about.
No, that's a very interesting
Yeah.
twist, which could lead to some very, very cool circumstances. So yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah,
I did.
I mean, we could talk about some more characters after the stream's over and some more of what I got. I don't know if you have to go like right after this or whatever, but yeah, but yeah, guys, that's what I'm working on. So yeah, Quinn might become a comic author pretty soon, and
Yeah,
like I said, definitely check out Mike's Indiegogo. Yeah.
yeah. I mentioned this to Quinn because hey, you've got 1,800 people watching here. You've got 200,000 subscribers. A lot of people don't understand that these guys are here because they like what you have to say. They like your ideas of Ice and Fire, and I think they will like your ideas of other things. Because one of the first things you told me was you're a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, why aren't you doing something with that and with what you're doing on your show?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a perfect combination of you taking all of your skills, all of your creativity. We have this fantastic outlet now in Indiegogo where we can turn those in our audiences on to the things that we want to create, and they will support us. And you've got a ton of people here who will support you. I'm sure. How many of you guys are going to be interested in seeing Quinn develop this out? And the nice thing to do about this is you can develop this out just very openly with your community.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, just like you just did, you feed some story ideas out there, and if people like the idea or don't like the idea, you can get this feedback because you want to always be open to criticism. You don't have to always
For
take
sure.
the criticism, but you always have to be open to it because even somebody who doesn't like what you're saying could be giving you a good reason why what you're doing isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important and really, really healthy. And it's good because the audience here look at all those people that are interested. Quinn, you reading the chat?
Yeah, I see. You guys are really excited. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. Because I definitely want to tell a great story with nuanced characters. And I'm definitely not just making like the Covenant's definitely not all evil and the King is definitely not a good guy. Like the whole thing is my idea was that when they approach him and they say you need to help us, instead of helping them, he like increases the witch hunts for like the next 16 years. So he's like, you know what, actually
He wants to get rid of his debt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to pay his debt. He just wants to get rid of the debtors.
Yeah. So I have this idea. It's kind of like Mythbeth. It is like slightly like Mythbeth because it's like he's cursed by these witches. Because of this, like his children are gonna start dying, and then Tadia is key in this because it's like the whole idea of how my magic system is gonna work is like they can't just do something for nothing. It's like if they want to get in on this king, they've got to have someone that's in there, pretty much in the castle with him to like do it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on, and then of course YouTube forever. Of course, always doing videos. Of course, always A Song of Ice and Fire. And then we're moving on. Ideas of Ice and Fire is moving on to other books too. We're right on the cusp of some Dan Simmons Hyperion content. I know a lot of you Dune people have been really excited about that. And then more Foundation stuff. And I've got a podcast upcoming with Girls Gone Canon, that podcast. I've got a podcast upcoming with Brendan Beefish. That's coming. I got one with Order the Greenhead coming up on Magor the Cruel. So I've got a lot of cool things. And then LML is going to be on my channel. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I'll drop your name into my green room if you ever just want to pop in while I'm live streaming. That's cool with me, man. We can cross-pollinate. I know I only have 6,000 subs. Hey, if you want to sub to me.
Definitely, guys. His channel link is in the description. And yeah, Game of Thrones sucks. Yeah, just final words on Game of Thrones. It's just like for a show that like literally for years I don't know how many times I've watched this over. Like my first college roommate I watched Game of Thrones with. And then my second college roommate I watched Game and I'm still friends with that guy, and we it's funny that I got him into Game of Thrones and we hate it together. Now it's like we watch it together and we're just like, dude, can you believe how much it sucks now? Can you believe how much it went downhill?
Because you've been betrayed.
It feels like a betrayal. And I feel like the reason I've always been so bitter is because I felt like it's always felt like a betrayal. Like from the beginning, they were always like, we're going to tell George R. R. Martin's story. We feel confident that we can bring his story to the small screen, but they didn't. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lily Tan. Thank you so much. But yeah, it's just watching this season fizzle out, it's almost like we all should have known. It wasn't just gonna get better. I should have known. I let my heart get in the way. I let other people convince me that maybe they weren't gonna botch the last season. I let other people convince me that maybe it wasn't gonna be so bad. But I should have stuck to my. I should have stuck to myself. Yeah, I should have just like.
You got suckered.
I did. I got suckered, and it's like those trailers too. That's why I hate watching trailers, and that's why I kind of honestly, low key. I mean, I love you guys. I love all of my YouTuber friends, but like, I'm not about doing those trailer breakdowns like ever. Like, come on now. Like, they have those trailers down to a science. It's always gonna look good in a trailer. Like, so that's why you can't tell anything from a trailer. It's like the Golden Company in the trailer. It's like I saw a bunch of people saying like the Golden Company had a bigger role in the trailer than they did in the whole.
Seriously. Oh my. Oh, jeez Louise. That's so bad. That's so bad.
Oh, did I miss your super chat? Who did I miss? Who said I missed their super chat? Christy Noel, did I miss it? Let me go look. Let me go look and see what you said. I don't want to miss anybody's super chats because if you're giving me some, you're putting the cash on the line. I gotta say what you said to me.
While you're looking for that, guys, I am less than $500 away from $100,000 on Lone Star Solo the Soldier. If you want to check it out, it is in the description as well.
Yes. Oh, I actually have a few more super chats actually over here. So Christy Noel says, Jamie could have been a double Kingslayer. And yeah, make sure you check out Mike's Indigo link in the description. Laura J, the female characters have suffered a bunch. Sansa's conversation with the Hound. Like how she's like, I'm glad I got brutalized. Like, what? J Lord. She's like, it made me who I am. Like, what abuse victim is like, I'm glad I got brutalized? I mean, come on.
They write such great women.
My God, come on. J Lord says, one creator to another, Quinn. Oh yeah, you already asked that, and I told you I talked to you about that. So yeah. Thank you guys so much. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, they love your idea, man.
I'm so happy you guys are into it. I'm so happy you guys have like watched my bitter rants on Game of Thrones throughout the years, and I'm so happy you guys like my Song of Ice and Fire content. And I'm so glad my Dune videos blew. I'm most proud of those videos out of all of my videos. If you just watch Game of Thrones and you just watch my Song of Ice and Fire stuff, I am telling you, give Ultimate Guide to Dune a try. It is nothing like any of my other videos. Those videos have so many layers. Like, literally, the God Emperor of Dune video, I had to get a new computer after that video because I had gotten to the point on those videos where it was too intense for the old computer that I had. The amount of stuff that I was rendering out and the amount of layers, because it's like, in the most recent one, it's like, I've got it where it's like, I've got the characters popping up when they're saying stuff, and I've got the music really good, and I've got, like, the sets, and, like, I've got, like, each, because, like, in that book, it jumps from, like, multiple different planets, so I've got, like, every planet looking a certain way, so when I cut the scene, you know what planet you're on. And I just work really hard and really do diligently on those, and they're just really meticulous. Definitely recommend them to anyone that's just a fan of any kind of fantasy or science fiction. And make sure you guys like it. If you like this video, if you've enjoyed the content so far, it's been great. Mike, you want to say anything? Parting words to the audience?
You got 1,600 people watching. You got 1,400 likes. That's fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. I know it was kind of a surprise for me to show up. I hope my fans followed suit and came in here. Do like and subscribe this channel if you have not already. Hit that bell for notifications. And if you could, swing down into the description and check the links out there to find out more about me. I would appreciate it. Thank you, Quinn, so much for having me on.
No problem, dude. And thank you guys for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe for more ideas of Ice and Fire. Which video? Ultimate Guide to Dune. Ultimate Guide to Dune. Ultimate Guide to Dune. Playlist on the channel. You can find all of my most important videos on the front page of my channel. There's playlists that will lead you around everything. So, peace out, guys. And the screen.